Welcome back to Podcast with a K. You're listening to 90.1 WECS FM. I'm your host, Carla with a K, and I'm joined here on this fine Sunday evening by Nour, Cris, and Jorge for Season 2.
What's up?
Yo.
Hello.
How we doing tonight?
Doing good, I guess. Yeah.
Doing
You
great.
guess?
Yes.
Yep.
We've been gone for a few months now, thanks to, summer and summer things, but we are back now, and we are ready to get back into it.
Yes, we are.
All right, so back to regularly scheduled programming, which is us talking about nonsense, as usual. Guys, how's y'all summer? Y'all ready to be back? Y'all excited to be back?
Yes.
I am excited to be back, Carla.
What are you most excited about?
I'm most excited to be back to my studies.
Is that so?
Yeah.
And what are you studying? Remind us.
Political science. So trying to get that degree to go to law school, then hopefully lawyer.
That's what's up. How about y'all two?
Same.
You're ready? You're most hyped to get back to your studies?
Yes.
And you're
Actually.
also poli-sci?
Yes.
And you also want to be a lawyer?
Yes.
All right, Cris, different answer.
Same.
No, that's not at all the same.
Same. No. Communications advertising. Yeah.
And that's newish to you, right?
Yeah. Last year I switched, but it's my sophomore year, so I'm pretty excited to get into that.
That's lit, bro.
Yep.
All right, well, we didn't come back to just talk about, being back in school as we did when we introduced you guys.
No, we did not.
So how about we just go right into the topics that we actually are here to discuss. As usual, we've met before to discuss what we wanted to discuss, and we're going to start with something that I feel like really took off this summer, and that is the concept of clout culture.
Clout culture.
Clout culture. So this is most clearly seen in the rising popularity of AirPods, as I'm sure you all know. There's even a Snapchat story, which is AirPods everywhere, just people being dumb with their AirPods. It's funny. I follow it, at least. But do you guys all have AirPods?
Yes.
Yep.
Jorge is currently wearing
He's
his
wearing
AirPods as we're recording the show.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't think I've seen Jorge this year without AirPods.
I don't think so either. The first thing that Jorge said to me, not hi, not how are you, not welcome to my humble abode, was check out this drip. And he
Yep.
showed us his AirPods.
Yep.
Yep.
I mean, I'm just
Talking to the
memeing
mic.
it at this point, At this point, I'm just like, taking the meme to its fullest.
And what is the meme then? Explain yourself.
Well, I just see everyone, making a big deal out of AirPods. It's like they're always like so high fashion, so like rich, like this rich life that they have, that they're so much better than everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get AirPods.
So for you, the AirPods are a status symbol.
I wouldn't say a status symbol. I just got them because, they're really like easy to like manage.
Convenient.
They're very
Mhm.
convenient. Like my
Convenient.
old headphones,
Yeah.
I had to like press a button. It's like these tiny little things.
God forbid pressing buttons.
All right, but it's like these very tiny little things that it's like so convenient to you, and it
Right.
like, works well with like all my
They're convenient,
Apple stuff.
but you have
The
to charge
wireless
them.
charging.
You could
It's
lose them.
wireless. Wireless charging.
I mean,
They
you have
could
to
fall
do
out
that
your
with
pocket.
everything.
That is true, but I feel like with wired headphones, you have a little bit more control over them just because, they're more clunky.
But they get in the way.
I
And
disagree.
they're
know.
wired.
So that's
I
what I'm
don't like
saying.
I
Too much
disagree.
cable.
You sacrifice, I guess, the safety for the convenience of just going wireless, entirely wireless.
Oh yeah. You don't want to lose an AirPod.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
That's how much for each AirPod, honestly.
It's like $69.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Mhm.
Nour, what are your thoughts on AirPods as you also have them?
I love them.
also wearing them.
No, I'm not wearing them.
I don't know, we can't see under your hair.
Nope.
Nour's not wearing AirPods, if
I'm
that's
not.
something you cared about.
I really like them because I don't like the wires.
Right.
Yes.
That's it? That's your entire reasoning?
Yes. I did not get them for the status lifestyle that Jorge was looking for.
Yeah, I didn't get them for the status. I just
Yes,
the
you did.
convenience. I got
Mhm.
them because they're
Convenient.
very convenient. You just pop one in, and that's it. That's all you gotta do.
It's respectable, no?
I mean,
Respect.
And I like music, so fast music access, you know, I'm all about that.
That is true. You know, you're not wrong. They are convenient. It's just they've kind of transcended the original purpose I think they were created for,
Which
What do
was
you mean?
which was just to like exist and be convenient. Now it's like you said, like we said anyway, it's a status symbol. If you have AirPods, it's like, oh, this dude has AirPods, huh?
But that's like more of the meme thing, I feel like, more than anything else.
I don't think Apple like anticipated.
No,
that
I don't
that-
think they did either.
Yeah.
But you know that Apple lives for their fanboys. They know that people are gonna buy whatever they put out,
That's true.
and they were ready for.
But when the AirPods first came out, not everyone was like down for it. Because I remember when it first came out, a lot of people hated it.
People were memeing it.
Yeah,
Like,
well,
Yeah.
not yet.
Well,
there was only like
making
recently
fun of
later.
it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Because
Yeah.
it was like, why would I buy this? I'm gonna easily lose this and pay like
Yeah.
another one. Like, am I
Right.
gonna have to pay another one for if I lose it? So it wasn't until like much recently later, I guess people were like making fun of it, of the pods,
Yeah, the pods.
the pods, the AirPods.
Fitting.
So
as this
then
is a
they're like,
podcast.
yeah, I got
But okay.
AirPods. You don't have AirPods. You
Yeah.
know, you broke.
But see, here's my thing. They're convenient and they're pretty cool. And honestly, like I've been a fan of like wireless headphones for ages. Like I obviously like AirPods are newer, but like I've always had like the normal headsets, like the ones we're wearing here in the studio right now. But like I've always like been a fan of that, especially because whenever you're charging your phone, right, that's a cable. If you're charging your laptop, that's another cable. And some headphones have the potential to receive like Bluetooth signal from both devices at the same time. And so that way you can like be on your laptop and your phone at the same time if you're trying to like not bother anyone or just like listen to your own stuff. So to me it was always just like, oh, that's cool. But AirPods specifically, like I said, it kind of took off, right? It transcended its purpose
did.
and it became a meme, a status symbol. And so it was just like, oh, AirPods. Because if you see someone that has off-brand AirPods, it's a
Oof.
joke. People will
Oof.
roast you for that. People will
Oof.
drag you through the mud just because you don't have the expensive version of it, which works just the same.
But like wireless headphones have been a thing way before
Mhm.
AirPods though.
They have.
It just like really worked for Apple.
Yeah, I think they really like hit their mark with it.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other side, now you have the whole AirPods versus the Samsung pods, because don't
Oh,
like
yeah.
Galaxies come with them too now?
Mhm.
They're not as good as the
Do they come
And
with
they're
it?
like this big.
I think whenever the 10 was first gonna come out, they said that I think they would be included in the purchase.
You think Apple will ever do that?
Never,
No.
because they live, dude. They charge you like what, $20 for a new charger?
Basically. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, they're
Just
not
for the cable.
just for the cable.
Mhm.
Yeah, not even the cube.
But that's like Apple warranty. That's why it's so expensive. At least
Dude.
that's what the lady at the store told me.
They lied to you,
What?
Jorge. They lied
But
to
she
you.
Right.
said if you break it, you can come in, you'll get a new one.
They
for
don't,
free.
dude. I've tried because I remember when I had my iPod, the cable, like you know the part where it connects and how it would like bend and it would either stop working or it would
Mhm.
tear and you could see
Mhm.
the cables even if it worked. So we went and because I think either me or my sister had shattered like our screen, so we went in and I asked about the cables because I'd heard that from like another friend, and they said no, but you can buy one for like $18.99, and I was like,
Oh, you bought
catch
a
me
$20
not.
one?
No, I never did. I just got the ones that they used to sell at the dollar store because they work just the same.
Oh, that's why they didn't give you a free one then. Because if you buy
What?
the $20
No,
one,
how are they gonna? No, dude. When
that's
you
what
get
the lady
your
at the store told me.
bro,
Carla.
listen, when you get your iPod, it comes with a cable. That
Mhm.
cable broke.
Oh,
I
okay.
was like, hey, help me out. The cable broke. They were like, nah, fam, buy a new one. And I was like, oh,
Mm.
sick.
Right. The one that comes with the box, yeah, I don't know about that. But I do know that a friend told me that the ones that come separately at the store, the $20 ones,
Yeah,
that's why it's so expensive. Like, because who would pay $20 for a charging cable?
exactly. But now it's.
A lot
It's-
of people will.
Mhm.
Unless, you
I-
know,
I have.
unless you like.
Have you really,
free.
Yeah.
Christian?
I could never do that.
I
Who
mean,
even
you need
are
to charge
you?
your phone.
Yeah, but you can buy a cheaper charger that works
I
better.
feel like they don't last
They
as
really
long as the
don't.
Apple ones.
Yeah.
the
They're
Apple
always
ones that I've
breaking.
had always break. I've
My-
had the same cable from Five Below for like 2 years.
My only complaint with the Apple ones are they're too short.
Mhm. I agree.
I want
Yeah.
one that's longer.
So
Mhm.
and I feel like they do that on purpose too, because the fact that they're short is what makes them break, because like you plug it in and you kind of like yank at it whenever, like, say you're like on, like, you have it on your desk or you have it
Right.
beside your bed, right? And you grab it and it's just long enough to like sit beside the charger. But if you're like, oh wait, let me see something, and it's that little like yanking motion like repeatedly, that's what breaks the cables. Unless you're just like out here destroying them doing I don't know what. But anyway,
Clout.
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 That's not the only thing that we've seen that plays into this concept of clout culture either. I feel like that just kind of took off as its own thing this summer, because I feel like it was maybe back in the 2000s when people were kind of more materialistic. Like, it was all about brand name, you know, like Von Dutch trucker hats are disgusting, but because it said Von Dutch, people bought them, right? Like it was always, and like that was the peak of like Hollister and Aeropostale, like all of the logo shirts, right? And so we've kind of seen a return of that in the style of it just being kind of retro, but also like you're starting to see logo shirts again, like Nike, like the Nike swooshes on everything, right? Adidas stripes are on everything. And again, that became kind of like a status thing over the summer. Like in particular, I feel like that's when it really took off.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
Champion too.
Champion.
Supreme, Louis.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, I feel like people have definitely become more materialistic over the years. There was this cool video I watched about how Payless made like another fake store, but they named it Palesi. All right.
Yeah.
I don't know if any of y'all
you-
saw this,
yes.
but they named it Palesi, which is I think Latin for Payless. I don't know.
No,
I just found that it was funny.
But they renamed it, yeah.
Right,
Continue.
Palesi, and they basically like had like the same stuff, like the same shoes, same everything, but the prices were like 200, 300, 400 times like more.
Yeah, and
right?
people would buy them,
And
right?
people came, and they're like, "Wow, this is really good material, really good quality stuff, amazing." And they're like, "Wow," and they're like, "Would you pay 500 for this?" "Oh yeah, I pay 600 for this." I'm like, "Okay." So then at the end, they're like, "Yeah, this is from Payless," and they just looked at them like,
Way.
"Wait, are you joking?"
They were
Way.
like, wait, what?
They're like, "What?" So I just feel like people would pay anything,
Right.
just for the brand name.
I think it's also exclusivity. A lot of these items are very hard to get, and that makes it much more appealing to the consumer on a general basis.
Right.
Yeah.
I think the worst thing about it is that it's hitting kids so young, because my brother's 11 and the clout culture is very real for his age. Like he
Yeah.
can't go back to school unless he has Beats headphones or like Jordans or things like that. And if you don't have it, you're considered like an outcast. So that's what I don't like about clout culture, because I don't feel like it was like that for me when I was younger.
See, for me, it was a little bit kind of on the lesser side of that. Like, I remember I was in like some like third grade, right? And some kid came up to me and they were like, "I heard you got that sweater at the flea market." And bougie little me from a bougie little family, I'm like, "What's the flea market?" Like, dude, this is couture. Like, I don't know, I was like 8 or something,
Yeah.
right? But like my sweater was like a good brand because like my parents were like that type of people when we were younger, when we were balling. And like I'd literally never even heard of the flea market, right? But because it wasn't like a logo or something that they recognized, everyone's just like, that possibly cannot be anything special. And we kind of saw a little bit of brand names backfiring. I don't know if it was over the summer or like right at the start, but Michael Kors came out with like some like new bag or something, right? And everyone was like, "Yo, this is kind of ugly. Michael Kors is like overrated." And like people started arguing about whether it was about the simplicity or the name or the actual style that people were paying for, or like the quality, durability. And this was mostly on Twitter. That's where I see most of this go down. And like on my end, I think that people really just pay for things like Michael Kors because it says Michael Kors, because you recognize the logo, because the logo like is a status symbol, because honestly the bag was kind of like really ugly and it was way expensive.
I don't know if you guys have heard like Supreme. It's like a huge brand,
Of course.
especially like over these last few years. It's been around for a while. But a couple of years back, they were like, they saw a lot of weird stuff on their website, but one of the things they sold was a brick. Brick with the logo Supreme. Now each brick like was going around for like I think $90. I might be wrong, but it's sold out instantly.
It did.
And it's just a brick
Literally a
with
brick.
Supreme on it. So
People will pay for brands, dude.
that's all it is. And I think it's been like that for a while now.
And do you guys think that the memes kind of serve as like publicity and free promo? Because
Yes.
high key,
yeah.
I think that feeds into it, because it's like, dude, look, I bought a brick for $500, or oh, dude, look, I bought AirPods, and it's like you didn't really need it or want it, but now you have it and you can show it off and be like, oh, I got this ironically. It's like, okay, but the company still got your money
And the promotion too.
and the promo from it.
Even if it's a joke, like it's still being promoted,
Yeah.
right?
That's kind of what I think that these brands lean into now. Maybe not Apple, because Apple knows that their name can carry whatever product they want, but a lot of the others, they rely on people's reactions to sell the product for them.
Like Popeye's chicken.
Like Popeye's chicken.
So
Yeah.
what's that about? Because I haven't seen that
I've
everywhere.
never tried the sandwich, but
Alright.
I do hear it's pretty good.
I hear it's better than Chick-fil-A.
Not
So
sponsored,
that's the
by way.
thesis.
Not
Not sponsored,
sponsored.
unless they want to sponsor us, in which case hit us up, because we have a Twitter now. Shameless plug. We are on Twitter Podcast with a K is the name of the show, and the username is podcastxk. That's PODKASTXK. So, follow us, like, retweet, or send us questions, send us DMs, get in contact with us, tell us what you think, tell us what you want to hear us say. But anyway, speaking of Twitter, so that's really like a lot of, brands are leaning into Twitter. That's how this all got started, right? Chick-fil-A said, Chick-fil-A said something about they were the original, right? They said like bun plus chicken plus pickles equals love.
Yeah.
And so people had a lot of fun with that because Chick-fil-A has kind of a history with that term love, but we're not getting into that tonight.
Relax, bro.
But they tweeted that, and Popeyes was like, yo, dog, you good? Basically. And all of the brands started arguing about who had the better chicken sandwich. Like Wendy's tried to get into it too. Like Burger King, I saw McDonald's. I saw like literally every other restaurant, right? But the one that stood out the most was Popeyes. And so this has been going on for maybe like a few weeks now, a month or so. It's been a minute. But this was insane because there was a place where there's a Popeyes right near a Chick-fil-A, and the Popeyes ran out of sandwiches like the day that they were like counting on being like their biggest day for promo, because they were like, yo, come get your sandwiches, and they ran out. And a picture went viral of the Popeyes guy standing beside a Chick-fil-A worker. And so people had a lot of fun with that. But the thing is, Chick-fil-A's had a lot of controversy recently, although they've been pretty much the biggest name in like the chicken industry for fast food.
They're huge.
Yeah.
They're really big in it.
Especially down in the South too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to see, especially because, Jorge, Cris, and I all live in the South. Nour is from the Midwest. But seeing that shift for me is crazy because back home, like, everyone's always like gassing up Chick-fil-A. Like, everyone loves Chick-fil-A.
Everyone loves Chick-fil-A.
Like, even the people that say it's overrated, they still eat at Chick-fil-A. Me included. I think it's, and Cris too. Like, it is overrated. I will say it's expensive and it's kind of like really simple food, but like it's good, dude. Like, politics and whatever nonsense aside, like the food, bro, they know what they're doing.
Like that music separate artist thing.
Like,
separate the politics from the food.
Whoa.
The food's pretty good.
What a callback to
know?
last season.
Food's pretty good.
We have talked a lot about that, about separating, I guess, the name from the actual product. Have you guys tried both sandwiches, Popeyes and
I've never been to
Chick-fil-A?
Popeyes in my life.
At all?
I tried the Chick-fil-A sandwich.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Chick-fil-A.
Yeah,
had,
Tried
yeah.
Chick-fil-A.
All right, so what are your thoughts on Chick-fil-A sandwiches?
I think it's overrated.
Jorge?
I like it. I get the spicy one.
Yeah.
And that's really good.
Chris?
I don't eat it like every time. But yeah, I think their chicken is like one of the better ones.
Yeah.
Apart from like, the
Would you say it's
Zaxby's,
worth?
other
Yeah, I would
stuff.
agree. Zaxby's is, I think, my least favorite of the chains. But would you agree that, like what people are saying, that the food itself is better and kind of worth dealing with all of the negative connotations that comes with the company that is Chick-fil-A?
It depends on like what's going on with the brand though. Like, what if it's something like really bad, right?
Right.
Something that's you just should not support.
Mm-hmm.
I think that then like you shouldn't get it. Like, you know what I mean?
Do we know what the issue is with Chick-fil-A?
Oh, you said you didn't want to talk about it.
I said
so-
we didn't have to get into it
Oh.
because you guys didn't want to talk politics this time
Yes.
around.
Let's
Yes,
stay,
we do.
Let's stay clear from that.
I mean, we know the issue.
yeah,
the
we know the
issue?
issue for
Yes.
sure.
Okay.
Do we want to speak on that?
But just for the record, I think Chick-fil-A is overrated. I like it, but I don't think it's all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ditto.
Okay, so my question then becomes, what would this company have to do? Like, how much would they have to lean into? Because at this point, I feel like it's outrage marketing. They know that people get mad about the controversy, but they know that people like the food. And so even when people complain about, like, oh, the politics of the restaurants and the company, they're still eating there. They're still spending their money there.
And I think Chick-fil-A knows like how this is effective because they can see like our burgers,
Yeah.
our chicken burgers like still like selling. Like they
Yeah.
track how many people still buy, and if it's really like something that's worth knowing, they would have done something by now.
I
Right.
agree because
But
I
I
feel
feel
like
like, yeah.
even the people affected by the issue still eat at Chick-fil-A, so it's not really
Yeah, they
doing
do.
anything.
And Chick-fil-A, like, they close on Sundays. Like,
Yeah.
It's a
Mhm.
huge luxury to have as a fast food restaurant.
Right.
Right? So
Definitely.
they're doing good.
Yeah, I think we could kind of compare this to the iPhone versus Galaxy thing, kind of. maybe I don't know what like the popular opinion is, but like obviously people kind of prefer iPhone to
Yes.
Galaxy, right? Like that's the general consensus of the public. People prefer Chick-fil-A to Popeyes. Like whether or not one's better or worse, one has the name and recognition, and they can afford, like you said, they can close on Sundays and still make enough money to
Yeah.
like kind of dominate the chicken sandwich game.
Not even the chicken sandwich. Every game, like every fast food, McDonald's, Wendy's.
I think at the end of
saw
last year it
Grab.
was the most popular restaurant, right? Chick-fil-A was.
By far.
So, Nour, like, how big is Chick-fil-A up in Wisconsin?
Not really big. We just got our first two like within the last 2 years, I would say. So it's not that big, but now that they are open, like there's always lines for Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, it's like a huge rave in the South for some reason.
Yeah, and it's interesting considering in the South there's chicken restaurants to go around. Like you can really go anywhere to get a good chicken meal.
It could also be that, like the customer service they give out.
Yeah.
They're like very polite.
My
Very
pleasure.
polite
Yes,
there.
my pleasure.
I'm curious as to what like you have to go through to work there. 'Cause I be hearing stories.
What do you
be
hear,
hearing
Jorge?
Stories. Do tell, Jorge. What are your stories?
Huh? No, just that the reason why they're very so polite is because they have to go through some kind of like
Brainwashed.
some weird training. I don't know.
Brainwashed.
Something to like because they're rarely like angry.
Right.
But if you compare that to other services like Popeyes or
Mhm.
McDonald's, you don't really get the same sort of.
So you think it's more so
leisure.
just about the attention to the client,
Yeah, I
like,
like
the direct interaction, because not everyone cares so much about what goes on behind the scenes.
Mm.
You think it's most.
Carla.
most
I
about
like
the
being
first-hand
treated with
experience.
respect. And Chick-fil-A
Respect.
always
Respect.
has that.
I always think it's weird.
Do you?
I don't go to Chick-fil-A and they say my pleasure and I'm like, oh my God, the respect.
Well, it's a given, it's nice, I don't really mind it
I
when
mean-
I go to McDonald's and I don't get it, but it's just nice.
Okay.
You want to feel good, right? About any purchase you make.
I guess.
You guess?
I don't know.
I think so. I think it has to do a lot with the fact that people go there and they can expect quality service. Like if they mess up your order, they'll replace it for free.
Yeah.
They have someone going around to do the refill so you don't have to get up. Like, so as a restaurant, I don't think people are going to stop going. The only people that I think would ever draw a line in the sand for what Chick-fil-A can and can't do to lose their business are people that would be like the most directly and personally affected. Like people that are in actual strugglesome situations because of what they do politically.
I agree.
Is there anything else that you guys can think of that has come up on the this idea of clout culture and just in general internet and marketing type topics?
Clout culture.
Yes.
I mean, I think you said Twitter has a big impact on it.
Yeah.
And what I see recently is like the admins of these accounts
Mm-hmm.
are like really good at what they do to like sort of make things go viral and stuff. Because you don't really see like verified, actual like companies like
Right.
talk like the way like I guess people more of our age talk like. So it's
Yeah.
like because you usually
Like the millennial Gen Z type.
yeah, you see them as
engagement.
like being more professional. You're in the field, your company, CEO. But when you see it like acting like us, it's
Yeah.
like, well, you don't see that every day. It's funny.
Yeah,
Like
it's
the whole Wendy's thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a while back, how they were like roasting.
right.
Yeah, like that's.
It's
new.
really new, and
Mhm.
they interviewed them, and they didn't say like how old they were. They didn't say where they were from, but they did say that they were like just some millennials that were allowed to go crazy because one person took a risk, and it was beneficial for the business, for the company, and so a lot of other companies took a leaf out of their book, and they
shock culture.
shot culture.
Pretty much like all fast food places.
Yeah,
now do
almost
it,
all of it.
right?
I think Moon Pies has a really active account. I've seen a lot of sponsored posts for Kool-Aid.
Wendy's,
Wendy's, yeah.
Wendy's is the biggest one for sure.
Popeyes now.
Popeyes and Chick-fil-A have taken off now, but even small, I think what's the gummy brand that does the octopi? Trolley. They have a really active social media presence. They don't go viral, but if you go through their account, they tweet a lot and they interact with their followers just like all of the others do. So it's expanding and it's working for them because we've heard about it.
Very, very.
It doesn't seem like there's very much they can do to lose business anymore because there's the people that are there for the hype around it.
And these businesses have been around for years too. So like,
Yeah.
like we talked about Apple. They've been around like what, like 2007, first iPhone.
Ages.
So they've built their empire. The people who use their products will keep using their products, right? So they can afford to take those risks.
Right. Other things that, went down over the summer, because we're going to do a little bit of summer catch-up these first few weeks, I think, because a lot went down, and we just weren't here to talk about it, and we know you guys are dying to know our opinions about, everything that goes on in the world. I know that I, really do enjoy listening to what you guys have to say.
Thank you.
Whenever y'all actually say stuff on the internet, I'm just like, oh, snap, opinions, nice. Marvel has had quite the run right now.
Yes.
Especially for, coming to the end of an era with Endgame, which we didn't get to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
We might have touched on it a little bit, but there's so much that's gone on.
How much can we talk about that, by the way?
So the official spoiler ban for Endgame ended in May, June-ish, ended early in the summer. So we can talk about that. We can talk about Spider-Man, I think. I guess this is your spoiler alert. Big spoiler warning. If you don't want to have anything spoiled, I would tune back in around midnight or so, because I feel like we're going to talk about this for a minute.
What?
So, back to the topic.
Yes.
Endgame, we all watched it?
Yep. Like 4 times now.
Of course.
It's a really long movie.
It is, dude. We went to see it opening weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Theater was full. I don't think I've ever been in a theater that was so interactive. I think they're how usually it's super taboo to even breathe too loud in the movie theater.
Yeah.
Everything that happened, people were talking to their friends, they were cheering, people were shouting at the screen. It was insane. It really felt like you're just watching a movie with your friends. Everyone was
If people start clapping?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same. Okay.
All right, so I feel like there was a lot of big things that happened. Obviously, the entire movie is big things happening, but major events, of course. I think the biggest one, the one that, weighed heavy on all of our hearts. Rest in peace, Tony Stark. Iron Man. My absolute favorite Marvel character.
Aww.
I have merch for one and only one superhero, and it was Iron Man.
Yeah.
It was tragic, dude. I had to turn my pop dolls around. I just couldn't bear it.
And I think they recently played it here too.
Mm-hmm.
The Endgame at the studio.
They did. They played it here at school. So for you guys listening from here on campus, it's fresh in your mind and in your hearts, I'd assume, if you care enough to go see a 3-hour movie twice or 3 times.
I think a lot of people saw it coming though. Last
Really?
movie.
I didn't.
Someone
I
had to
didn't.
die.
I didn't see it.
Someone had to die,
Someone
but
had
why
to die.
Iron Man?
Yeah,
I thought it would be Captain America.
I thought it was,
I thought they would.
I thought it was just gonna be Captain America.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought I really did think for sure that they were going to find a way to un-Captain America him, or that he would be the ultimate sacrifice because he's Captain America.
That's his whole thing.
He's the first Avenger, and I thought he would be, the final one. But it's kind of poetic that they would choose Iron Man, considering he was the first superhero in the Avengers to have a movie series.
Right.
Mm-hmm. The first to start it, and now he's gone.
Gone
No
but
one
never
will
forgotten.
Ever play him.
No.
Best Iron Man ever.
I really hope that Marvel doesn't try to reboot, ever. I don't want them to try to reboot Iron Man, because it's just not going to be the same, especially in our lifetime, because if they do it, we're always going to be oh, it's not the same.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's one company that I think does stand more to lose if they were to replace him.
Mm-hmm.
Because people would see the movie, but people would fall off afterwards because they'd be like, yeah, it doesn't compare to Robert Downey Jr.
I agree.
Other major events of Endgame. Cap
Mm-hmm.
reuniting with Peggy, coming back as a whole old man.
That was cute. I
Yeah.
never really watched the Captain America ones. Though.
Into the mic.
I didn't really watch the Captain America movies as much as the other stuff. I think
Right.
all I watched was Iron Man and Avengers.
Really?
Yeah, crazy, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty
Whoa.
new to Marvel and superheroes last 2 years.
Yeah. Did you watch the Captain America movie?
Mm-mm.
None of them?
Nope.
So you went into Endgame just
she didn't care when
blind
he died.
about all their
When-
backstories.
she didn't
Yeah.
care.
Yeah.
I don't
the
have
ending.
much backstory to
All
go
right, so
off of.
Chris, I know you saw them.
Chris.
Yeah.
How did you feel about Captain America's arc? How did you feel about his arc, about going back to the past, going back to the future, all of that? And also, how do you guys feel about the hammer? He was worthy enough to pick up Thor's hammer.
Oh yeah, that's really cool. Like what they did with Cap, like especially with the whole history with Peggy, and finally him able to have that life that he gave up years ago.
Yeah.
I did not see it coming. Like I
Mhm.
really didn't. Like Marvel really surprised a lot of people with this movie.
Mm-hmm.
But they did it wonderfully with Cap and Iron Man, and now the new announced Captain America. So, and I know they're pushing that a lot
Yeah.
with the directors and stuff. So I'm
Definitely.
very excited about that and where that's headed. Because I mean, if you just watch Endgame, you would assume that that's it. That's the
It's
end.
the
of-
end game.
Yeah, right. But there's still a lot to come. For
Yeah.
a lot of new heroes, continuation.
This was just the end of phase 3.
Yeah. So
They really did line it up for the continuing heroes to be the new like center pieces of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But
which is good because like they're not milking it, you know.
Right.
They're trying to add fresh stuff and new content to
yeah.
the universe, which is highly appreciated, right?
And it was necessary, especially considering that they rebooted Spider-Man and people were already like, ah, dude, here we go again.
But that ended quite quickly,
Even
right?
that, yeah.
So
Tom Holland is supposedly still like contractually agreed to continue making the movies no matter which of the studios own them. So I think like as far as that goes, it'll be fine. I'm just curious as to how it'll affect the storyline.
Yeah.
I overheard, I think I saw it on Twitter or something that they might add him to the Venom universe,
Yeah.
which I don't know how that's gonna work. I think that's gonna be very weird.
I think it's going to be kind of a reach, and whatever the next movie is that comes out, it's not going to be what we expected after Far From Home, because Far From Home was good.
Very
It was
good, yeah.
insane, and it had a really good ending. I don't know how much we want to get into that, like for the sake of spoilers, if anyone didn't decide to tune away, but like the ending was set up very, very well for a sequel
For
from Far From Home.
yeah,
I agree.
yeah.
It was. I did watch that movie too, by the way.
I think that was the best summer movie, to be honest.
Yeah.
I really
Home.
enjoyed that movie.
Yeah, I saw it, and there was just so much. Like, you could watch it just as a fan of Spider-Man,
Yeah.
but if you watched it as a fan of Marvel in general, you could find things that like would stand out and be symbolic to you. Like, you didn't have to be either or to enjoy it. It was really a movie meant for the entire audience. It was supposed to be like unifying, I think.
I think like it's gonna be hard too because this new Spider-Man has built up so many new relationships now, right?
Yeah.
With the current Avengers team, and so to completely take that away and take that into a completely new
Yeah.
universe with Venom, that's gonna be very far-fetched.
Yeah, especially because they were really building this Spider-Man to be, like, as much as he keeps denying it, to be the new Tony Stark of the
Right.
Marvel universe. Like, they really wanted Spider-Man to be central to like the new squad, but
and like that was like the whole thing, right? With the new movie is
Right.
like, is he worthy to wear those glasses, right?
yeah.
To be Iron
And he
Man's
finally
successor.
owned up to it,
Yeah.
and now for them to take it away,
So
it's crazy. I really do hope that they revisit this. It's not final, right? It's
a
still in the
rumors,
works.
right?
So I really hope that they manage to at least let Marvel have one more movie just to finish it off.
I think he is contractually he has two
Yeah,
coming out, right?
2 more Spider-Man movies.
But I don't know if they will be with the current universe or new universe.
The way that they were making it seem was that it would be through Sony.
Yeah. that's
So
what
he would
mean.
entirely be removed from Marvel once again because they couldn't reach any common terms on their licensing agreements.
I was really shocked about that.
Yeah. I'm surprised that they still hadn't sorted that out, especially considering how big Spider-Man's been. Like 3 movies in 3 years apart from Endgame. That's insane. Just for them to like decide to turn it all around.
Yeah, but Sony noticed. They wanted more money, and makes sense, right?
Yeah, of course.
So,
But like it's not like they didn't know that Spider-Man was going to be a hit. I mean, Marvel's been fighting to get Spider-Man back for ages.
yeah. Yeah, I think they like Sony bought Spider-Man years ago.
Yeah.
Years ago, so.
I think Sony just didn't expect Spider-Man to be as successful because they were just like, it's another reboot. We'll make money from this anyway. And they're like, oh, shoot. They're making a lot of money from this.
I have noticed that Spider-Man recently has been really big.
Yeah.
Because, the Venom came out. That's sort of the Spider
Mhm.
Universe. And then Into the Spideyverse. That also.
Spider-Verse.
went out.
Great movie.
Amazing.
And then during that time, one of the most better Spider-Man games came out on the PS4
Yeah.
as well.
That one did good too, right?
Yeah,
that
that
one
game
did
was
really
that
good.
Really,
game
really
did-
well.
And all
Yeah.
this like Spider-Man, you see it everywhere. So it was Spider-Man's year, I feel like.
Yeah, like I said, I really think that they were building him up to be the new Tony Stark, not just like in the story, but like as promo, as their attention getter. Because whenever Robert Downey Jr. does anything, whenever Iron Man did anything, people are always like, gotta watch it, gotta do it. Like that was the one centerpiece that everyone was down for, right? And I really do think they wanted Tom Holland's Spider-Man to be that for them. But now it's all up in the air.
If he does leave, I think that new face is probably gonna be the new Cap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't disagree. Although, as Guardians of the
Galaxy.
Galaxy, yeah. That's what I think was also something they were counting on because Endgame ends with Thor going with the Guardians of the Galaxy, right?
Right.
And so I feel like that's kind of their backup plan because it pulls together. Because most of the people that liked Guardians of the Galaxy liked that, right?
Right.
They liked it for what it was. They liked it for those characters. They liked it for that storyline, even though, of course, it ties into the Avengers. They liked it just as a standalone, right? I personally thought it was just a little bit removed from what I was looking for in the Avengers. And so, like, I know that there's a lot of people like me that were just kind of like, all right, this is my, like, OG, like, set of movies that I'm going to watch. This is what I'm going to stick to. But I think that they wanted that, like, to be their backup plan always because they're joining together two of their biggest, like, fan bases because Guardians of the Galaxy was kind of like their new X-Men.
And I remember, like, when when the first Guardians came out years
Yeah.
ago, Marvel did not expect how successful that movie was going to
Yeah.
be. But it hit hard
It did
among fans.
really well.
I loved it. I love Guardians. And I think the way they tied it back up with Avengers was really good. And hopefully they continue that
Yeah.
into Phase 4.
And Chris Pratt was, I mean, huge actor, right? And the soundtrack, I think, helped a lot. We've talked about soundtracks in movies before, and I think that helped.
I just agree with what you guys are saying.
Did you say disagree?
I don't. No, I said agree.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nour doesn't really
I
watch
don't have.
Marvel.
I don't have too much background. So
But that's why I want to hear what you have to say,
like,
because
weigh in.
since you don't
Come on,
have
Nour.
as much, like, investment into this,
Uh-huh.
like, you're the opinion that matters to me right now, and also to the studio, because you're the people they're coming after. They want to, like, rope you in.
People are mad at you right now.
Why?
I'm kidding.
You're the target audience because you're new to it,
Hmm.
and especially for a new phase.
Well, I really started to like Marvel, and then after they took out Spider-Man, I'm boycotting. So
Wow.
no, Spider-Man really became my favorite superhero really quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so for them to take that away,
Well, he's not gone,
yeah, but now he's not
just
a part
misplaced,
of Marvel, and
right?
that's why I
Yeah.
watch the movies.
I mean, he's still there.
Yeah, but it's not gonna be the same.
Nah, I guess. Yeah, you're right.
Marvel does have like these cool like Avengers, but like Spider-Man was also my favorite superhero.
I love
Spider-Man, I think, was just really good as a standalone. He did the movies, and he as a hero has
Mhm.
always done well without having to be involved with any of the superhero groups. And now it's just kind of like people only associate him with the other superheroes, like
Yeah.
especially with Iron Man.
Yeah.
And now Iron Man's gone, and now for Spider-Man to be gone from that universe as well, I honestly don't think that the next phase is going to be as successful as it was going to be.
Yeah, I agree.
No, I think they'll push through.
They're obviously
I don't
not.
know.
I think they'll push through.
They're
with
not
it.
going to like
People-
fail. It's just not going
People
to
will
be.
still watch it.
I don't think so.
I'm not gonna watch
I don't
it.
think as many people
still
will.
watch it.
As
Because
many?
look, after the like huge success that the movies had, they were
Mhm.
probably expecting something like that same amount of hype, and it's died down. I haven't seen as much interest in what they're doing next.
Okay, Spider-Man was introduced to this cinematic universe in Captain America: Civil War.
Yes,
There was many movies before that which did very well,
yes,
and Spider-Man was not involved at all.
right.
So I think Marvel,
But that
they're
was-
going to continue
That was
doing
before,
good.
though.
Yeah, now.
Yeah, and they were doing
growing.
good, and I think they'll do just as good without Spider-Man. I want Spider-Man to stay. Don't get me wrong,
Right.
but I don't think that's the final say of whether Marvel is done. You know?
Yes and no, because now that's one less familiar face for people to look into. So I think that they're gonna do well with getting the new fans, but the people that have been invested in this for years, like those people are the ones that I think are going to lose interest.
What I mean, but there is going to be a lot of change regardless in Phase
Right.
4, right? Like, it's the whole rebranding, new people,
Mhm.
new characters. So, who knows?
Yeah.
It might not change much.
I mean, I hope I'm wrong, because it would be cool to see Marvel kind of bounce back from this and come up with some new, fresh ideas instead of
Yeah.
just sequels, as
I
we've
hope
had
it
for the
stays that.
past few years. I don't think it will. I think they're going to lean heavier into Thor and Captain America than they thought they would have to. And, like, me personally, I'm just like, I'll watch it just because, like, whatever, but I'm not going to, like, be as invested in, I don't think, like, I'll watch it, like, I might not go to the movies to see it, but I'll see it whenever it comes out on Netflix or something.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, it's dead.
You think
Dead?
it's dead?
It's gone. Marvel's finished, dude.
Hot take from Jorge. You heard it here first,
it's,
folks. Marvel canceled.
It's time for DC's takeover.
Ooh.
We talked a little about this before. I
Hmm.
really do think that DC's gonna step up to the plate.
It has to.
Yeah.
And this is like, if they were gonna do it, I think right now it's like they have the best chance to do that.
Yeah, if they play their cards right, I think DC is really going to be able to kind of turn the attention to them. Only because of, like I said, the familiar facing is huge. People like to see things that they already care about, other than having to start a whole new like fan connection with the subject.
There's so much potential for DC too.
Yeah,
It's
there
like
is.
years of history there, and I really hope they revisit that for sure and take a look at the Justice League movies.
Yeah. I feel
Yeah.
like if they can nail this next Justice League movie, whenever it comes out,
Mm-hmm.
that's going to be like key for their success. Because, I mean, they have their fans that will watch it anyway, but if they want to grow and like surpass Marvel ever, then they're really going to have to do something good.
They're coming out with the movie Joker this October.
They are.
I
They
heard some
are.
good reviews about that movie.
And that
by the
movie's
way.
gonna bang, trust me.
I heard some really good
That
reviews.
shit's gonna take off.
Yeah,
No cap.
it
Is
looks
it-
like it's going to be
Who's the
good.
Joker? Robert Pattinson?
Yeah. I
Right?
think it's
Ooh,
Phoenix.
No,
it's
that's
Joaquin
gonna
Phoenix.
Yeah, Queen
be Robert
Phoenix.
Pattinson.
I thought he was.
Isn't that gonna be
cast
the
as
new
the-
Batman?
Oh, Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the new
you're
Batman.
Yeah.
You're right, Batman.
Yeah.
Which is insane,
Mhm.
by the way.
So yeah, like they're starting to rebrand DC too.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be
And
interesting to see
the-
where it goes.
Robert Pattinson's going to be huge for them because people are
Mhm.
going to be like, oh, dude, that's the guy from Twilight. People are going to see it just to see if he's good or not,
I
right?
can't see him being Batman.
So people are going to see it just to see if they can. Joaquin Phoenix, dude,
Can you?
the trailer of just him, like no other
What?
actors, that trailer is amazing. And, like, I went into it already being over the Joker just because the Joker's had so many like different actors, so many different runs, and it's been kind of overtaken by like the more annoying half of the fan base, I want to say.
Some actors have been good though, like Heath Ledger, like did
Of course,
Mhm.
legendary,
outstanding job playing
iconic.
the Joker.
Jared Leto was awful for the Joker.
Yeah.
That kind of really tanked the persona of the Joker.
But this new
But
Joker,
this
with
new one,
Joaquin,
it
I
was
feel like
so
he'll
good, dude.
He'll do a really good job.
I watched it and literally did not even have a thought of like the past like failed versions of the Joker. I watched it and I'm like, this is new. This is something I could get behind.
And it seems like a very separate film
Yeah.
from the rest of the DC universe, which I'm wondering like will there be any connection?
I think from what I understand is they want to see if this Joker can be kind of his own thing, and they're going to integrate him in whatever way is actually fitting, other than just like, hey guys, here's a movie and here's the Joker. Like they actually want him to fit into it, not just kind of like Jared Leto where it was just like, here's the Joker, he doesn't really have anything to do with this story, but like he's here.
Yeah, that was just rushed.
They don't want a repeat of that.
Yeah.
They
'Cause
really do want him to be a part
I
of it.
also know they're making a new Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they're gonna be including the Joker in there. So
I would actually just say I hope not, because he's not really the most important character for Suicide Squad, and he distracts the attention. Like
Yeah.
the focus kind of turns towards the Joker instead, and it doesn't let the actual Suicide Squad shine through.
Yeah, I feel like this new Joker movie, it'll be more of a what's the word for it? Like a psychological thriller,
Yeah.
almost. Like it's not
Mhm.
really like a superhero movie. You're like watching a guy get beat down over and over and over by society until one day he just snaps.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm really excited to see that.
It'll be really cool to see. I'm excited for it, and I think they're doing really well about not listening to the fans, because this is honestly at this point a good thing, because Endgame felt like, especially the thing with the hammer, like I'm gonna be stuck on that forever. It felt like they were just kind of like, they saw what the fans wanted and they were like, all right, let's give the people what they want. And they kind of made a movie that they knew that people would go crazy for, but only the people that were like the loudest majority, like especially on the internet, right? At conventions and stuff, like people have been stuck on when Cap could like move the hammer.
Yeah.
And he didn't pick it up, right? And so what I wanted to happen is like he picks it up and it's just like a moment of worthiness, right? Because he has to save Thor. I thought that would have been cool, just like one and done, right? But for him to just like continue to use it like as his, it's just like it got tired so fast. And like this is the end of the movie. This is like what 20 minutes, and I was already over that. Like,
yeah,
they it was very much like fan service. The movie.
Wait, so is that something you liked or you didn't like?
I didn't like that they leaned so far into it because instead of focusing on the story, they kind of made it more like, hey guys, we did the thing. You saw, we did the thing that you guys wanted. We did that. I
agree with Carl on that. The story, like the writing of it was kind of lackluster, at least for me.
Yeah.
I feel like it could have been better.
Yeah.
It felt really like, I don't know, rushed in a sense.
I disagree.
Please
elaborate.
King.
I think that Marvel did a really good job with Avengers Endgame for many reasons.
I don't think they did a bad job. I think they just
for one
they
gave the fans what they wanted, right? Which is a huge service to what made Marvel what it is today. But they also surprised the fans, right? Like I went to watch that movie with like all these scenarios in my head of what was gonna happen, how they're gonna finish the movie, how they're gonna end Phase 4, and none of those scenarios lined up with what I got.
Yeah,
and I absolutely loved that movie. I loved it. I thought that 3+ hours.
Mm-hmm.
Were absolutely worth it to watch, and many moments in that movie that I loved.
I don't disagree. It was worth it, and it was, like I said, the ending was poetic. I hated it because I loved Iron Man, but like the ending was poetic, and it was fitting for the movie and for the end of Phase 3. But I think the way they went about, like you said, people clapped in the theater, right?
Yeah.
The way they went about getting those reactions was just very transparent. Like it wasn't something you had to like be like, oh dude, they did the thing. Like it was just like they kept reminding you, hey, we did the thing. And it was also like that with the scene of like all the female heroes. That was a really, really cool shot, right? But that was a scene that I think they could have expanded on, like all of their like moments in the fight scenes, because they don't have a lot of screen time throughout the movies, right? Like especially Valkyrie, like.
But I mean, that was the whole point of that scene, right?
That was the point of that scene, just to like be like the female empowerment. That's a scene that I think could have gone on for longer to show like their individual battles, because you really just see Captain Marvel, right?
Yeah, but we also have to take into account all and I believe it's 60+ heroes.
Yes, there's a lot going on.
That we want to fit into a movie.
So spend a little less time on Captain America with Thor's hammer and a little more time on all of the smaller heroes. Like even freaking Black Panther. He didn't get almost any, like, comparatively, right?
Right.
Black Panther was huge. They really could have given him more.
They weren't one of the first Avengers, right?
Right.
So that's something that they heavily emphasize in this movie.
Yeah.
They started with
the
X
OGs.
Avengers. They're going to end with these Avengers, right?
Exactly. So that transition is what I think was lacking, because they focused so much on what the fans wanted to see from, like, specific heroes. They didn't focus enough on others that I think should have been more relevant in the transition.
Okay.
Excellent.
Fools. Nour, thoughts?
You can't ask me about these things. I don't know enough.
What do you mean?
I don't know enough to have an opinion.
But that's why I want to hear your opinion, because like we're both very invested in what we cared about in that movie.
I know, I see that.
But
I mean, I thought it was an excellent movie. The best one I've seen so far. And I've only seen like 4.
Okay, but of those 4 then, do you think that the movie was like, I'm assuming the 4 have been the Avenger ones and Spider-Man, right?
Yeah.
So only knowing the Avengers as a whole, right, as a group, do you think that transition was well done, well made, or do you think it played too much into individual heroes? Because that's my problem, is like they focus so much on individual things that you had to know or care about specifically, right?
Right. I disagree with you.
Okay.
Ooh. I thought it was really good. Really good transitions. I don't know. It
So
was everything that I needed it to be.
Yeah. So you think the passing of the torch was like enough, like everyone got enough like of a spotlight?
Yes.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Yes.
I disagree with you, Nour.
Okay. Good for you.
Would you like to elaborate, or was that your statement?
No, that's just it. No, the movie was cool. Yeah, sure. I guess Well, I mean, you can't be Avatar without doing something, right? It was like sold more than the
Yes.
number one
Can I
highest
just say
grossing
I
film.
hated Avatar as a movie?
Yeah,
Blue People?
I
Yes.
hated Avatar.
Blue
Blue
so
people were
dumb.
great. I love
I
that movie.
hated that
Blue
movie.
People the movie.
You know why
Shut
Avatar
up.
did so well? Because a lot of people are like, who? They don't really remember that movie, right?
Mhm.
But at the time, like, it was like revolutionary.
2009.
Right? They took
It
advantage of
was.
3D
Yeah.
stuff. This
Yes.
fantasy
Mhm.
world.
For the time, it was good. I just can't believe it spent so long at the
I
top,
didn't like it.
Yeah.
especially considering that they used
Disagree
papyrus.
with you, Nour.
Papyrus.
Chris.
The font used for avatars, papyrus. I really hope whoever's listening, you've seen the SNL skit with Ryan Gosling about papyrus, or whoever it was. But yeah, anyway,
It's just hard. Like, it's hard to fit all these different people
yeah,
into one film, right?
yeah,
And to make them interact equally. It's just, I think it's impossible. So
Yes.
the way they did it, I think was the correct way to go about it.
yeah.
Yeah.
That I don't disagree with. Like, they did what they could with what they had, and they
Mhm.
did probably their best. I just think they leaned way too much into the Cap hammer thing.
What do you mean, Cap Hammer?
Cap with Thor's hammer.
But that was such like a short part of the movie, though.
They've emphasized it so much though,
It
because
really
like
affected Carla.
it did. It really
Carla,
did.
did they emphasize that? Did they build it up after all those movies?
Absolutely, yeah. But that's the whole point. He was the first Avenger. They
Yeah.
did that for a reason, right?
Hmm.
They're not going to do that with Valkyrie.
No.
They're not going to do that with Black Panther.
I'm
'Cause
not
they're
saying.
they weren't the first Avengers.
I'm
so
not saying
he
that
earned
about
his
the
way.
first Avengers thing. Like,
Off, King.
chill, don't yell into the mic. I'm just saying that's just like my prime example because I think that was the biggest one that got the biggest reaction. I just think they should have focused a little bit more on other smaller aspects that also mattered because it is the end of an era and there's a lot of loose ends to tie for them to focus so much on one. And like I remember people complaining that Bucky got too much screen time and I'm like, Bucky hasn't even like
Yeah, I
existed for
didn't
like the
see
last
it.
5 movies. What are you talking about? So I think people just kind of wanted different things from it, but for an ending, I think it was a good end. Good end unlocked.
Financially, it did great.
Of course.
Yeah,
Of course it
financially,
did.
Yes.
It did great.
Final thought on the, I guess, final movie, the end credit or the lack of an end credit scene.
I remember over the summer they re-released it, I think, but
Mhm.
they added an extra scene.
Did
I
they?
didn't go see it though, but I did heard
Yes.
that they added an extra scene when they were gonna show it in the theaters again.
And what was that scene?
I don't know.
Oh,
Did any of you go see it again?
No.
Catch that?
I don't think so.
I don't. I remember seeing that on Twitter. I never
I-
cared enough to look it up. I was like, I'm done.
I saw a scene of the moment where Tony Stark passes away. It was
Mhm.
deleted from the original film, where all the heroes kneel.
Yes,
And that was an
That's
extended
it.
version that will be included in the CD copy.
DVD.
DVD. But yeah. Is that what you're talking about?
No, it was in the
No,
theaters.
it was in the theaters.
Oh.
Then I did see that, Chris. I didn't see what the scene was that they added in theaters. The end being Iron Man crafting the suit. That's something that I liked that I know people didn't like. Like
What?
just the audio of the metal like clanking over the Marvel logo. Because there wasn't an end credit scene. It was just
Right.
the audio over that. I liked
a
that.
small little tribute. to Iron
Yeah,
Man.
I liked it because it was just kind of like, it was subtle. It's like, if you know, you know.
Yeah.
If you care enough to sit through it, you're going to know. I personally like that.
Yeah, that was cool.
All right. Any other thoughts on superhero movies?
You're wrong, Carla. It was a great
Wow.
movie.
I didn't
disagree
say it
with
was a
all
bad
of
great
movie.
movie. Okay.
It was a good movie.
That's it.
I'm just sad about it. Anyway, time for a new topic, shall we?
Yes. let's.
All right. So, continuing our theme of summer catch up, Area 51.
Jorge.
Yes, Carla. Area
All right. While everyone gets settled, I will talk about Area 51.
Yes, Area
So-
51.
Backstory.
Backstory.
Give us the origin.
We all have heard of this, right? We all have Area 51 fresh in our minds. This
Yes.
started with a Facebook event being created, as has been the trend for about a year or two now. An event that was called something like, Let's All Storm Area 51, They Can't Stop Us All, right?
Mm-hmm.
Event took off on Facebook, filled up. They had to create a new event, filled up. They had to create a new event, filled up. Because, like, everyone was joining it because it was funny.
There's
And
a
it was.
max limit how many people can join.
I think there's a max limit
Know
as
what
far
there is?
as like an article I read said. I don't know.
You don't know
But
the number?
I don't. This was just. It was a lot happening all at once, and I was kind of just in it for the jokes. But I do remember reading that someone said that there was like a limit. I may be wrong, because you can't believe everything you see on the internet. But
Really?
yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? But so the event took off, right? And people, of course, had the greatest time with these memes about Area 51. The pictures came out though of like people in the government having to go through briefings about what Naruto running was, because one of the ideas was to Naruto run to get through the security faster. But those pictures I think were like the funniest thing, because it showed that like the actual government really had to be concerned in case 300,000 people decided to show up at Area 51 to find some aliens. I think one of my favorite memes of the summer was the alien I stole from Area 51 like doing something like, you know what I'm talking about?
Oh,
Those
yeah,
were
yeah.
amazing. I love those so much.
Yeah.
But yeah, recently, however, the event on Facebook changed from the memes. Supposedly, I think the date is sometime this month, September, this first half of the month, right? It changed, and it started promoting a music festival to go down in the Area 51 region, you know, in the
Very
deserts. So the theory now is that this event was created with the hopes and kind of the faith that it would take off and create pretty much just promo for a new music festival.
Wait, so they're not storming Area 51?
I mean,
Well, the date for it has not been reached yet, right?
Right,
I think it's
no.
September. What is it?
They're
September
like
20
separate
something.
things,
yes.
right?
I'll look it up right now, actually. But yeah, the idea is now that we are not storming Area 51, but instead going to a music festival.
Doesn't change anything.
Technical difficulties as usual, but what can you expect?
Is it like two different events? One is storming
No,
Area 51,
it turns out that it's like
and
all
one is like a concert thing.
it's apparently all part of the same thing.
We've
Like
been
the event on
bamboozled.
Facebook was created to promote the music festival. That's what the theory is at this point, because I think one of the events on Facebook, I think the original one got deleted or is the one that changed entirely to the music festival.
So there's no more storming then.
We're not
No
storming
way.
Area 51 anymore.
I was looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I mean, you can still storm Area 51 if you really want
you'll
to.
get shot.
I mean,
So they're having a music festival near
So-
the area.
Yeah, obviously you
51.
can't have a music festival on Area 51,
Right.
but I think it's set to be like in the deserts, like as close as possible as you can get. So, I mean, the possibility of people still storming Area 51, you know,
I
as
was really looking
concert
forward to
or
that.
festival goers.
Where are you?
Where are you, Jorge?
a bunch of people just Naruto running towards Area 51. Yes. I mean, come on.
Oh,
What
man.
was the end goal there? Like what? Like what?
I think
So-
people
What were
just.
Take
people
home an
trying
alien.
to
Right, I know
reach?
this. I know this. Okay, so I read back.
You
They were
don't
gonna
want an
storm?
alien, Chris?
No, I don't want an alien.
Why
Nour.
not?
Do you want an
Let Jorge
Yes.
speak.
Okay.
They were gonna storm Area 51, and I think so. There's all started like, what's Area 51 hiding? You know, so that's why they wanted to storm it. They wanted to go inside or something, see the aliens, because I think that's what the original like thing
Yeah,
was
it
about.
was to
just
see
They want to see them
aliens.
aliens.
Prove
right?
that it's
They want to
yeah,
see them aliens.
Prove the
you know,
aliens
so that's why they
exist.
went.
Exactly. However,
Wait, let me see.
what's happening?
Nour,
kids?
you good?
Nour, are you
Nour, are
alright?
you good?
Are we okay, kids?
No, what's going on?
Okay, just
Nour, why are you
Focus, my
crying?
friends.
Nour's crying.
Nour actually is crying from laughter, and I don't know what happened.
Something's going on with Nour.
Nour, girl, you good?
I'm good. Continue.
Nour, you're crying.
Nour, you're
Oh
sobbing,
my
bro.
God.
Is everything okay?
My dear listeners, as confused as you are, I can assure you I am too. From this side of the table, I don't know what's going on.
I'm beside her. I don't know what's going on.
I'm good.
Nour, are you good?
Mhm.
All good.
All good.
All right, so back to the No, you're not good, because as I try to go back to the discussion, you're still sitting here dying of laughter.
Proceed.
So, recap, because now I need a recap. Area 51
We want
event
aliens.
turns into music festival. We wanted to see aliens.
Yeah.
Jorge wants to Naruto run.
I don't want to. I want to see a lot of people Naruto run to Area 51. Hopefully, someone like streams it or something.
Okay,
Wow.
so there are a lot of things to unpack here, right? So I think first and foremost, say that this event had happened and not changed. The idea was to storm Area 51. Do you think people would have shown up?
I think maybe like 1 or 2.
1 or 2 people
Nah.
out of
Nah,
like
more people.
hundreds of thousands that signed
yeah.
up?
Like what, 1,000 maybe?
I'm hoping
A good 1,000 or so, yeah.
1,000 or so.
Wasn't
Would-
the government though like issuing warnings for
Yes,
people
they
doing that?
did. I'm telling you, like they posted, like someone leaked like pictures of their briefings, like preparing them in
Mhm.
case people stormed. And then I think the government tweeted or something like, "Y'all can't
Like,
come
don't
here."
do that, yeah.
Yeah,
Then they said like they'll shoot or something.
yeah. They said that it's protected. They did not come on like the internet and be like, "Hey guys, we're gonna shoot you if you show up."
But they
But,
like
like,
warned them, right?
They issued warnings that
Yeah.
Area 51 is still like a protected base and that you can't just have access to it. Anyone trespassing will be apprehended or otherwise, prohibited from entering the premises.
Mhm.
Do you
I don't-
think
I
if-
don't know if people would have done it.
I think there's
That's what I'm
probably
saying.
a good
bro.
group of people that would have showed up. Not hundreds of thousands, of course, but I think people would have shown up.
Yeah, like 10.
It's also a very remote location, which I think people forget. It's very hard to get there. So, yeah, definitely not all 200,000 people would have made it.
No.
It's an interesting thing to think about, though. If actually, like, because honestly, that's how revolutions work. If enough
Mhm.
people show up and do enough, like, whatever,
Except
that's how
it's
you
for
overthrow a
aliens
government.
this
Except for,
time,
there's
not
no
freedom,
purpose.
right?
Yeah, there's really no purpose other than just like, we just want proof that aliens exist.
Not freedom. Aliens.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Solid.
It's ironic. Do you think that with this change with the festival, do you think people will go to the festival with the hopes of still gaining access to Area 51?
No.
I think they'll just go to the festival to go.
Mhm.
Just for like the fun of it?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if Area 51 doesn't work out, you still get to listen to some good music. So
Are you sure it's going to be good?
No.
you still get to listen to some music.
I think it brings back the clout thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I went to the area.
Just
51
because you were a
music
part of the
festival.
event,
That's
right?
pretty cool, though,
Good
right?
callback, yeah.
Yeah, it is pretty cool.
I went to the
You wanna
Area
go?
51. Yeah, let's go.
Okay.
All right, so the music festival as it stands, do you guys think it'll be as successful as the original idea to just storm the Area 51? Or do you think people are just going to be like, oh, it's like Fire Festival 2.0?
The latter.
You think so?
2.0.
Do y'all know what Fire Festival is?
Yes.
Sorta. I heard it was like a huge scam. They were trying to put in like a huge festival, and it didn't really work out. People paid money, never got it back.
Mhm.
Yeah.
A lot of people went to jail. That's what I heard.
Yeah, and they had like huge influencers promoting it, like the Kardashian, Jenner,
Yeah.
Really?
them
Yeah,
and
they
their
did.
model friends. And yeah, nothing ever came of it. Like people showed up, they were kind of like just disaster tents and like trays of like I think sandwiches.
Yikes.
Yeah, and it was not at all like up to code or anything. And I think what I've seen most is now that it's supposed to be a music festival. People don't really have the highest hopes for it to be as successful because they think it's just kind of like, oh, they just kind of bounced off of it. Like there's the people that don't think it was promo at all, right? They think they just kind of saw an opportunity and they grabbed it. And I think that I kind of want to lean more on the other side where like they knew what they were doing with the event. Like they knew that it would get the attention that they needed in order to be able to use that for something else. The something else now being the music festival.
So like conspiracy theory almost.
Almost a conspiracy theory.
Mm.
Area 51. It's crazy, bro.
Thank you for that
Thought.
eloquent statement.
Very crazy. Very crazy.
Hmm.
Like, what do you think of the two potential scenarios? Like, someone's just kind of taking the attention that the original Facebook event got and being like, hey, we could do something out of this. Or do you think it was all planned?
The first one.
They just kind of
I
saw
don't
an
think
opportunity.
it was all planned.
Yeah, it seems a bit far-fetched.
I don't know, man. People be
Because
out
people are
here.
crazy, and they definitely wanted to storm Area 51.
Would you have stormed Area 51?
No.
Would you?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
Would you?
I'd watch it like stream, but I wouldn't like be there. Yeah.
just
And I
here
feel
for
like
the
that's what
show.
everyone was sort of going for. Like
Wouldn't be
everyone was
actively
down to
running.
like watch a bunch of people, fucking Naruto run to Area 51.
Right.
But not many people would like actually be down to show there.
I'm really curious to know as to how many people would have shown up. And honestly, like, we still don't know.
So when is the
If
date
people are
again?
gonna
When
show
does this happen?
Oh, yes. That was what we were looking up before we had some technical difficulties. I know it was September 20th. Yeah.
20th.
It now has a Wikipedia page, you guys.
We shall know.
September
Then.
what?
Storm Area 51, They Can't Stop All of Us, is an American Facebook event currently planned for September 20th, 2019 at Area 51,
Ooh.
a U.S. Air Force
Can't
facility
stop all of
within
us.
whatever, in search for extraterrestrial life. So the post was made in the end of June, and over 2 million responded going.
That's crazy.
Dude, whenever I saw this, like I said, it was like 300,000. It was 2
Yikes.
million at like its peak. Yeah, officials like all warned people to not do it, not go. But like, dude, meme culture is a
This
phrase now.
is a really test of how strong meme culture.
Meme
can be.
culture is
If
insane.
if a shit ton of people show up, then meme, I respect it. You know,
I
good
think
job for the memes.
we go back to the whole clout culture with that. Though,
Yeah.
Right? We saw a lot of people signing up. It gained traction. Now everyone's interested, right?
Right.
So
People just kind of want to be included. They want to be like involved in the next big thing, and memes do that. I think we kind of saw a rise of like the Facebook events as memes around like there was a hurricane or something, and people just kind of started saying like Naruto run at the hurricane to stop it, which has become a huge thing. But we're kind of seeing a rise of memes being used to promote things and promote events, which, like y'all said, it does bring us back to the whole idea of clout culture and the power of influencers, honestly.
usually works, right? With like Chick-fil-A, you know, they want that attention, but I don't think Area 51 wants.
They don't want that
All
attention
this-
at all.
I
It's
don't
like
think
the
they
most
asked for
secretive
this.
place.
So
I think it was, I think it's clever to like start going, I mean, obviously anything to do with aliens and the government, like it's hard, it's risky, but for people to go at it with memes of all things, like it gets the attention of people who otherwise wouldn't care or pay attention.
I feel like it's pretty cool. Yeah. I mean, I definitely want to see them aliens too. Don't get me wrong, but at the safety of my own dorm, you feel me?
Right, of course.
through my computer.
Exactly. Sure.
It's kind of like we are living in a weird little point of history where it's like, are you going to do something about it, or are you just going to watch it all unfold? Now that it's so easy and convenient to watch everything unfold, because like back then, like you either got involved or you had to wait to figure out whether like big events were successful or not, like moments of revolution. And I feel like the general public has been asking for proof of aliens forever, right? And so
Let me ask you a question, Carla.
go ahead.
Do you believe in aliens?
We've had this discussion on the show before with you
Carla?
three.
I hate.
I believe in aliens for sure.
I
Nour?
wanted to
Really?
say
Nour?
it first. Yes, I believe in aliens.
Jorge?
Jorge
See-
is an alien.
But see, I don't know, dude. I want to believe, but
Right.
like it's gotta be right.
Like statistically,
gotta
like,
be.
I mean, like,
mathematically.
The universe is so vast, but
Right.
there's so many theories, and the thing about this is I read up on this so much that if they are real, you know, I would have seen one by now.
Okay, what
At
do
least
you
someone,
mean?
you know, someone.
How do
has
you
seen
know that one of us is not an alien?
Dun, dun, dun.
Are you good, Nour?
I'm good. I'm just asking.
Dog, last time Nour said that she'd been to the moon.
I don't know. It's weird. I'm weirded out.
Wait, do you believe in aliens?
Yeah, I do.
Hmm.
Respect.
It's just like, why do you assume they would want to come here though?
If the universe is
wouldn't they
so
wanna come
vast,
here?
yeah.
What's so interesting about Earth?
Hmm.
We're killing it. Right?
We've got
That's
We
what,
are
what's
killing
interesting.
18 months?
We are killing it.
Hmm?
We've got 18 months left to
Is that
live,
really
bro.
true?
No, I don't think so. 18 months
It's already
18
happened.
where
months
it's
until
irreversible.
It's irreversible.
But we'll still be fine, right? It's just irreversible damage.
Yeah,
We're
we'll
gonna
be
die, but it's
fine.
gonna be fine.
Shit.
What were you gonna ask?
Something about aliens. Yeah, because
Are they real?
Yeah.
Okay, you guys have already asked that. He was gonna say something
Yeah,
before.
I took his question.
Yeah, that was my question.
That was the question.
Are
Whether you
aliens
believe in
real?
aliens?
Yeah, because you're talking about aliens and stuff like you want to see the aliens in Area 51.
Mhm.
But Area 51 is, well, they say it's used for like aircraft training, right?
Right.
As a site to train aircrafts. Nothing else.
Dude, there's no
Aliens.
possible way. Like, otherwise, why would it be so secretive? And how did it get the reputation of being about,
I mean,
hiding aliens?
do you want to disclose your biggest and most harmful weapons to the public?
Of course not, but I mean, for them to choose aliens, like something that piques everyone's curiosity as their cover, like
Who chose aliens?
that's what I'm saying. Like,
I
how
think
did
the public did? That's just been assumed this
Right.
whole time.
And so you think the government has just been like, dude, it's not aliens. We're not gonna tell you what it is, but it's not aliens.
Well, it's not their job to like.
But
clarify
people
what's
wouldn't
wrong and
listen.
what's right.
You think they hide behind the people's choice of it being aliens?
The government?
Yeah. The government's just like running with it because they know it keeps the attention away from their biggest, most dangerous weapons.
That could be it. That would make sense to me.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Hmm.
The question then becomes, do you think that if not Area 51, there's another area actually dedicated to aliens in a safer, more remote location?
It's Area 41.
Area 41?
Yep.
Maybe, yeah. Probably.
What do you guys think about then the lack of returns to space? I know we've touched on this before on the show. I don't know if it was with you guys, but then like the curiosity about aliens is huge, right? Do you think maybe that's why there hasn't been as much of an emphasis on returning to space after going to the moon?
No, I think we just don't have the technology for that.
You think so?
We don't even like know what's in all like our oceans, right? So
Right.
imagine the whole universe.
Do you think that maybe the technology exists, it's just the research isn't released to the public?
No, I'm leaning more towards the idea that we don't have the technology to come close to exploring all of our universe.
Right.
I mean, we struggled to make it to Mars, right?
Right.
We made it to the moon a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
People have passed away in that process, so
Yeah.
I think to say that we need to discover aliens sometime in the near future doesn't seem realistic to me.
You don't think it'll be in our lifetime then that we get proof of extraterrestrial life? Because I feel like every month or so they come up with a new story about like, ooh, there's a planet just like Earth in this other solar
that's
system.
true.
No, I think that we will. I think that they will find other forms of life,
Mhm.
probably in our lifetime. And I don't think that the technology isn't there. I just think that maybe they're afraid
Mhm.
to use what they do have just in case something does go wrong.
Right.
But I do think it's there.
Jorge, what are your thoughts?
The end times.
What does that mean, Jorge?
The end times?
Yeah, what do you mean by the
The end of times?
Yes. Well, it's like the Bible and the apocalypse. I don't know if y'all read the Bible. But it does say, like, during this time, like, there are signs that the end
Is coming.
is coming, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Because you see, like, all these, like, men in power, like Donald Trump, disasters happening.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's been like that forever.
No, yeah, for sure. But
Yep.
now it's more noticeable.
I mean,
than
now it's
anything.
18 months, right?
Yeah.
It's more pressing now.
More people are becoming more aware.
So you think we're actually about to go through Revelation?
No,
A
now we just have better
revelation?
media to cover it. But Nour's right. Corruption, all this stuff has been around
Yeah.
since the
I
beginning
mean,
of
do
time,
you guys
right?
remember when the world was going to end in 2012?
Yeah, but nothing was actually happening.
There was a
I-
movie.
He's right. Okay.
There was
I
a
didn't think it
movie.
was
No,
gonna
plus
end
if there was a
2012.
movie then.
I thought-
No, but like he said, the natural disasters thing is true. There's been a huge increase in that.
Huge spike in that.
Yeah.
But that's because of climate change.
Yeah. Exactly. So like if that's the end of times, what if that is the end of times and
I'm
we've just been
excited.
Maybe it
misinterpreting?
is.
I'm
You're excited
Jorge,
for
why are you
What's
excited?
wrong with
What do
you?
you mean?
You're excited
Are
about
you
what?
excited the world to end?
I just want some excitement
Oh
in my life,
Goodness.
whether it be through chaos,
Area
epidemics,
51.
Area 51, aliens,
Jorge, bro.
revelations.
But you
September
just wanna
20th,
watch
why don't
it,
you
right?
just go Naruto run into the
He just wants to
government?
watch
He
it.
doesn't want to go through it. Just
I
watch
get
it.
shot. I ain't trying to get shot.
That would be exciting.
That's exciting, yeah.
Getting shot?
hmm I mean, you want the,
The
world to
thrill
end.
of it. What?
Yeah, but like, think about it. Think about it. Just think about it. Just imagine.
Imagine what?
Like, you see, like, earthquakes are, like, crumbling, tornadoes,
I
hurricanes.
don't want to imagine
People die.
eruptions.
I don't want to
I'm
Million-
dying
imagine
too.
millions of
What you
people
mean?
die.
I'm dying too.
Jorge,
nothing I
Exciting,
can
huh?
do.
you're willing to sacrifice the will of the world just for you to not be bored?
For some
Bro,
excitement.
get some hobbies.
I'll do my part, right? I'll
Watch
do my
the
part.
movies. There's a lot
I'll
of
do my
them.
part in helping the earth as much as I can, right? That means no straws. No. No
We
plastic.
save the turtles.
I
Save
actually
the turtles.
Save the
you know.
turtles.
Okay,
We
let's
gotta
go,
save
girls.
the turtles. You know,
Stop.
I'm
I
gonna try to do
wanna-
my part, but people are saying it is inevitable. Is it not, Carl?
It is inevitable.
It's
One day.
inevitable only because I think we've pushed the earth too far. I think the 18th month things is just kind of like a call to action, but we're
Mhm.
past the point of no return. Like
Yeah.
especially because the spike in natural disasters stands a testament to
Yeah.
that. But I actually do want to discuss this a little bit since you brought it up
Discuss
about the
what?
straws and the
The
turtles.
straws.
This call to action for people to do kind of like minimal things. There's like, oh, by doing this little thing, you could save the world. That's not going to do anything. It's the corporations and the factories and all of the like gigantic waste that I think is the real issue here. And
I would
until
disagree on that. I think
Discuss.
that so collectively around 8-9 billion of us in this
Mhm.
planet. If we all collectively agree to, we were using the example of straws, right?
right,
To get rid of straws, that will make a difference. That
Mhm.
doesn't take care of all the human garbage that's out in the planet, but it stops from creating new human garbage to being spread, right?
right.
So if anything, it just extends the time that we so call end, right,
hmm
from the planet.
I think it's just
Doesn't cure it, but extends time.
so I think it's just kind of to help us not feel so helpless because it is something that will help. It's just not enough.
Oh yeah, no,
But
it's
I
not enough.
feel
I
like-
agree on that. Yeah.
I feel like if every person thought the way that you just said, like, oh, I'm just one person, I'm not going to make a difference, then like we're really not going to make a difference.
No, of course not. But I'm saying like that's not. It's not enough to just cut that one thing out of your lifestyle. If you genuinely want to benefit the planet, it takes so much more than that. And I think that people just not everyone is willing to do the research to figure out like what they're doing because there are people that like live no waste lives, right?
Mhm.
Like you see these videos go viral every now and then and about like people
Yeah.
like keep all of their trash for a year and it can fit in a mason jar.
Exactly.
I mean,
yeah.
in a perfect world, all 8 billion of us
Yeah.
become vegetarians, right?
But here's the thing.
Don't consume meat. But it's just hard.
Okay,
It's
so-
very, very impossible.
And that's another thing too because
Mhm.
people like to say that about being vegetarian, being vegan, but unless everyone does it,
It's just not realistic.
it's
It
not
won't
realistic.
happen.
Exactly. So the thing here is with obviously renewable energy is something that we have got to perfect. We've got to like make more widespread, but also the waste-free lifestyle could also be more attainable if things were made in such a way that they wouldn't produce so much waste. Like if you go to the bookstore, you'll see the composition books for like what $2 or something.
Right.
The decomposition books, which are made out of like recyclable material and all that stuff, they're like $8.
Mhm.
It's expensive to live a life that would benefit the planet.
But if we as consumers don't buy those products that harm the earth,
Mhm.
these corporations won't make them. So at the end of the day, the people who have the final say is us. Because the corporations, they're just doing their job. They're just trying to make money, sell their product, right?
Right.
But we have the final say whether we want to buy
You have
it
to
or
realize the corporations aren't a separate entity. They are also just people.
not. They want money
Yes.
that sell product that we buy.
Right. So there's a hierarchy here in who's deciding what. So it all goes back to the corporations because you can decide that you're not going to buy anything. There's no such thing as ethical consumerism. It's impossible in this day and age.
I mean, like, I get what you're saying. Like, we decide, but at the end of the day, like, people can't afford
Yeah, like
a more
you can
expensive one. You know, as much as you don't want to give them your money, like, not everybody can afford an $8 notebook.
So then we should just tell the big corporations to not make that product.
and that's the issue. That's exactly
to not
the
try
issue.
to earn their living.
No,
They
no,
can
that's not
still
what I'm
make
saying
their
at all,
living
no.
without this, but they're obviously it's harder to make because it's not just
Right.
one, right? It's everything's connected and everyone has to like there's supply and demand, right? Everyone has to pay more for better products because
Mhm.
it takes more time, it takes more people, it takes more resources. But that's because there hasn't been a proper shift in it, like especially for example with renewable energy, which is something that I feel like I know a little bit more about just because we have to go through it in school, right? The issue with solar energy being the thing is that it's expensive to like make the solar panels or whatever. But once that shift has, come to like settle, the energy itself is cheaper because like the sun is providing all the energy and you're not having to spend as much on people like getting like the like oil, right? Or fossil fuels and all of that,
Mhm.
like, because that's also manpower, that's machinery, that's a lot of waste and it's harming the planet. but it's expensive to actually transition into a lifestyle that wouldn't harm the planet. And I think that's why it comes back into the corporations, because like you said, they're just people that want money for their work, right? But they're also people who could also be doing things to benefit the planet. Just like we have the final say, they also have a final say, because whenever they're done working, they go home and they have to choose whether they're going to buy the $2 notebook or the $8 notebook, and whether they're going to work to save the planet or not.
Yeah, but at that point, when they go home, they become people like us.
Right.
That's what I'm trying to get at. I think.
What do you think, Chris?
I think.
Yes.
You ready?
He's literally
I'm ready,
saying what
Chris.
he thinks.
All right. Nah, I just think that us collectively, we all make the difference.
I
If we all
agree.
decide to change, there will be change.
Right.
But it's got to start with us first.
You're not wrong, but like I said, the corporations
change,
are also
though,
people.
A really important factor of change when it comes to humans is I feel like they're more inclined to change when their lives are at risk.
Yeah.
And climate change is pretty much risk. You
Yeah,
know?
but I don't like their
Hiking.
lives are at risk right now, but people are still not changing.
Exactly. That I'm
Because
getting to
people-
that, Nour. Relax, all right?
I'm
Don't cut me off.
relaxed.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah.
Alright.
relaxed.
Chill.
Don't cut me off. All right. No, like Nour was saying, like, they're not at risk right now. Even though they are, because we only have like 17 months. People don't care because they're living like lavishly right now.
Mhm.
Right.
You know? They're living lavishly. So they're not going to do anything. They're not going to change, like Chris says, you know,
Yeah.
collectively, because they don't feel like they're in any danger
Yeah,
at
it's-
the moment.
People are very much like, it's not my problem yet.
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
until it's their problem, they're not going to do anything. So the people that work for these corporations, right, they don't see this impact directly, right? Because they can afford the $8 notebook. They can afford to like be like, I did my part. But the rest of the people, they can't feed into that. Like, you can't just go live in the woods like Henry David Thoreau. Like, you can't. It's nearly impossible
It's
in
human
today's
nature, Kyle.
day.
People are selfish. They don't do anything until it becomes a problem for themselves,
Right.
right?
Right. But then there's the people that care, and then there's the people that are trying to influence
But
change.
how many people of those people that care outnumber the people that just
Clearly, it's
live their
not
lives?
enough because we have
It's
18
not.
months to save the planet.
it's not enough? This is what I'm getting at.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I still stand by what I said earlier.
No, I agree with what you said.
It's just it's easier said than done, right?
Yeah,
'Cause
definitely.
It's so many of us.
Yeah.
So many of us to come together and agree on this one common problem.
Right.
But it's also easier said than done for these corporations, because at the end of the day, they exist for one purpose and one purpose only.
Mm-hmm.
It's not for the consumer. It's not for the people. It's to make money.
Right.
Right. So if they could somehow turn that business into making money, but still helping our environment, by all means. But it's also kind of hard.
It is, and that's the issue. I think they're not every corporation wants to put in the work to make that transition themselves.
For which reason I think the change starts with us
Right.
as consumers, to let them know what needs to be done, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not wrong. It's just kind of like she said, it's not realistic
Mm-hmm.
because people can't afford that lifestyle, and those that can don't necessarily, like he said, they don't necessarily feel the impact because it doesn't directly affect them.
Right.
A little bit just more on the straws thing then. Like the school switched, right?
Mhm.
From the cups with the straws to the other lids.
Yes.
Didn't we see them?
The sippy
No,
cups.
we were wrong.
Really?
Which
Yeah,
talking about?
What was it?
We just saw people with straws in the stew, and they had Starbucks cups,
Oh,
so we
shoot.
thought that the school
Reverse.
reversed it,
No.
but they didn't. They just stopped at a different Starbucks.
I've seen people
okay.
actually like use the metal straws is what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, I've seen that.
so for example, like that is a thing that is happening, but the thing is you put one company out of business, another one's just gonna step up and take its place. Because after this, then the issue is going to become about metal. After that, what's the issue going to become? Like it's a vicious cycle.
But you're making steps.
Yeah, it's
Towards
steps.
a change. You know what I'm
but-
saying? Like back to the corporations thing. Like I think that enough people spoke out about the straw situation that like Starbucks, a really big corporation, has now switched to no straws, and I think they'll be phasing out straws in 2020 completely.
Mm-hmm.
There's no like easy solution to
No,
this.
there's
Like, it's not going to be solved overnight. I think I heavily agree with what Nour said. It's small steps that count, right?
Right.
So hopefully over time, it will be enough steps that it will be enough.
Yeah, I feel like it comes down to personal responsibility, but also the corporations are the ones that provide us with the products that we're going to buy. Like, they give us our choices. So the responsibility rests within the people with the power, as well as us to decide who we support and who we don't.
That's right.
But I don't, like you're saying, it rests with the corporations, but Starbucks had really no reason to take out straws until people started saying something about it.
The people have spoken, and now the scientists have spoken too. So I feel like it's more of a call to action at this point, whether people or not are going to respond. But
Walmart has also taken little action.
yeah,
Their plastic bags are now
in the state of
10
Connecticut.
cents.
Only in
in
Connecticut.
And I don't
Small
think
steps,
it's, I don't think it's
Nour,
for
small
environmental reasons.
Small
No.
steps, small steps.
What'd you say?
I don't think it's for environmental reasons that
You think it's
Walmart is
just
doing
'cause-
that. I think it's just because Connecticut's not doing too hot.
Please
Oh,
elaborate on
Connecticut.
this. What you mean
In
Connecticut's
terms of
not doing too
money,
hot?
Connecticut's not doing too hot.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, if you can charge 10 extra cents for a bag,
And people
it adds up.
people pay for it.
People will pay for it.
Like, you go to
money.
the store, you pay like $100 worth of groceries. That's what, 10 bags maybe? It's only $1 more. At that
Mhm.
point, it doesn't affect people very much. So I guess since we're talking about like important issues in the world and stuff like that, Jorge, please return to
Jorge.
your Science C. You can tell it's our first week back. That's all I'm saying. Okay, so this is something we discussing, and I think this will be a good topic to kind of end our night on, because it's got a little bit of everything, internet culture, calls to action, etc. So, as far as entertainment goes, the Women's World Cup happened, but so did esports championships. So there was a discrepancy and sort of an issue that went around with the pay and the wage gap. So the women's team, I think, won like $2-3 million for the team for the World Cup, right? The women's soccer team.
Yeah, the stat I heard was that and I might be wrong for this. The winner for the Women's World Cup, the team as a whole gained $4 million.
Yes. The prize pool was of $4 million. And there was a Fortnite championship in which a kid won $3 million.
Mm-hmm.
There's another esports championship coming up. I think it's Fortnite again. And the prize pool is of $10 million. All of this compares to the men's soccer team, the prize being of 2018, $400 million.
What?
Yeah.
Power.
But we are currently in this discussion of...
Why do you think that is? Such a huge discrepancy, Carla.
It comes down to, systemic sexism and just kind of like a history of women not making as much as men. But because of this, it's also got to do with the fact that the men's sports just get a lot more attention. They get more promotion and, of course, more promo, more attention, more viewers, more fans,
More
more
money.
audience, more money. And for some reason, video games have taken off to the point where they can compete with actual sports in terms of financial.
Prize pools.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shit is crazy, dude.
It is. It really is. I mean, compare 4 million to 400 million.
Yeah, it's not right.
It's not.
Mhm.
And
It's not.
you also have to consider that the women's soccer team wins a lot more than the
Right.
men's soccer team for the United States. And yet, here we are. And like the team has been very vocal about it recently as well. Like they've let it known that they're not going to stand for this. But it's crazy to think that them being as established as they have been, and for esports to be as recent as it is, for them to be in the same range of money that's available for the winners.
Yeah, the sport of like gaming is definitely like taking over. I remember when it was like, on the Jimmy Kimmel shows, stuff like that.
Yeah.
It was more of like a joke, like, oh, I'm gonna like, play video games in my house, instead of a job, and I'll earn like 1 million. What am
Yeah.
I doing with my life? Like why am I doing my job when I can easily just play video games for a living and make like millions of dollars? But it's not that easy, Carla.
It's not.
It's not.
And I also think that historically, video games have been looked down upon, right? You
Right.
don't want your
Mhm.
son, your daughter to be in these games most of their day. You want them to be outside. But lately, it's been a huge business. And it's been a very, very lucrative business. I know you
Yeah.
mentioned Fortnite. It's huge. Dota 2. Huge video game industries that make a lot of money.
Yeah. I think, and with Twitch partners with PUBG as well to like do like yearly things, and it's not always like millions of dollars. I think last year it was just kind of for like I think 10,000 or something. I don't remember the stats, but
For PUBG?
hmm?
For PUBG or what?
PUBG. But like there's a lot of attention being placed on kind of what activity deserves how much money. But I mean, it comes down to the audience. The audience decides what they want to see and who they want to pay to do things.
The audience. Yeah.
I know the Men's World Cup gains millions of views internet, like globally,
Right.
right? And that plays a huge factor into that prize pool.
Mm-hmm. You're not wrong. And also, because of that, there's also more recognition. Like even people that don't watch soccer, if that's our example for tonight, they can name famous soccer players that are men.
Barely. I think they can name like maybe one or two.
But the fact that they can name one or two.
Well, those people are like famous even outside the game. I feel like, you can be like really good at soccer, but
Yeah.
if you really want your name extolled, you have to branch out and like come on like these shows, have these endorsement
Yeah,
deals.
you become like a personality.
Yeah, like a big like influencer.
Like, for
But
example,
you can't just play soccer and be like, oh, I'm going to be famous. I'm just going to play
No,
soccer,
right, like,
go home, and that's
for
it.
example, David Beckham, he's got a lot of like brand deals and stuff,
Yeah.
and he's like done a lot as well. And now I guess some of the bigger names are like Messi, Ronaldo, like
Cristiano Ronaldo.
Oh my god.
but like the fact that there are names that you can recognize, like, and whether or not it's like, oh yeah, that's that one soccer guy. Like in the women's soccer teams, most people don't really know their names unless you care enough to know who is on the team, or just like that the fact that they're even famous to begin with.
I think most U.S. fans know most of the names, if not at least one, like Alex Morgan.
Yeah.
She's very
Mhm.
popular in the States.
Right.
So,
But that's only in the States, because the others, they have worldwide recognition.
yeah.
Like, fans of the sport will know people in the women's soccer team, but it's not the same. It's not at all at the same level.
No. It's
And I
not.
think
Yeah.
it's, again, just like the last topic, it's a vicious cycle, because there's not as attention, there's not as big of an audience, there's not as much money. It just comes down to like who's being promoted more, and there's just not that sort of attention for the women's soccer team, which is crazy, because like if we're comparing it to esports, there's so much. I mean, the internet's kind of its own like audience in
Culture.
it's a culture
Yeah.
in and of itself, and it gets enough attention to the fact that they're surpassing the women's soccer team in how much money is available for winners.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Insane.
Nour?
Opinions, Nour?
I don't think that there should be video game contests worth that much money.
Wow,
Why?
hot take
Very,
from
Why?
I
Nour.
love this. No, this is
Why
why I
should
like
somebody play video games and win $3 million? $3 million.
Hold Jorge back, man. Hold Jorge back.
Please share your thoughts.
Wait, would you say the
3
same?
million.
Okay.
Do you know that a doctor
Hold
doesn't
on,
make
Nour.
$3
Nour.
million a
I am aware
year?
a doctor does not make $300 million a year. Okay. But listen, do you have the same take on like sports, like soccer players making that much?
I don't understand why people who play sports get paid so much money.
Do you want to extend this into the
So
entertainment
it's not
industry
just
as a
like
whole?
gaming; it's like sports.
Okay,
these
gaming though,
athletes.
like that's new, right? Like people have never been
Yeah.
paid this much to game.
Like I've
This
said,
is like relatively
Sure.
new.
I think I said this on the one with last year with Cris and Jorge, but also Ivan and Rodrigo. Shouts out to the boys. But as far as it comes like to gaming and the internet, that's got a lot to do with YouTube, because YouTube pays per view or something, right? And because of like the exponential growth of channels like PewDiePie, like that kind of set the standard for how much money was going to go into video games. And video games, of course, have been popular forever. They make money, they're expensive, so the video game companies make money. And so now that people get paid to play, I think it's just kind of like the aspect of a competition has kind of taken off on its own. Like you said, it's kind of its own culture at this point. And so it's another part of the entertainment industry, because I mean, you're just sitting watching on a screen, right? You're watching a game. You don't know the players. To you, like, you might as well be watching someone play FIFA as you could be watching like the actual World Cup.
Nour,
Right, but I
thoughts?
just think that it's crazy that we have so much money to pour into entertainment, but we don't have that same money to solve like actual world problems or pay people who do so much work.
Into the mic.
Like, you get what I'm saying? Like,
No,
we're paying
that
so
makes
much
sense.
money for views
I
and
agree
like
with you.
On
Sure.
paper that makes sense, right? Like
Right.
why are we paying so much money to people that are just playing games and not so much money to people that are saving lives on a daily?
right.
But Carla did mention something earlier that struck out to me, and it's supply and demand, right?
Right.
So many people are gravitating towards this, right? So many people are wanting to watch this. So many people, and it's like a lot of these video game tournaments are funded by the fans, right, Jorge? Like a lot of these, like they're funded by the fans. So that's a huge thing, and a lot of people want to watch it. Another thing I wanna mention is, there's a huge misconception that anyone can become famous playing video games. It's still a very high skill gap, right? You still have to like stand out among the rest,
And even
stand
sometimes
out,
it comes down to just luck.
And I think that's something that's super important, because with like physical activity like sports, you have to actually be good at what you do, right? And to do that, you have to do training, you have to practice. With video games, since it's so attainable for so many people, it's not just about your ability to like press the buttons fast enough and do the proper combinations. It's also about you and who you are and how much of an entertainer you can be. It has to do with your personality and how you come across as a potential influencer, because that's where the money comes in. Brands want to sponsor people. Like, we talk about this a lot, of course, because Fortnite's huge right now, but like Ninja was Twitch's biggest streamer, and now he's not on Twitch anymore.
Right.
He got bought out by Microsoft. And so, like, that's because he, as a person, as an influencer, was worth more than just his ability to play a game that millions of people play.
No, and I'm not saying anything about like people, like anybody can do sports or anybody can do video games, but I think that we should lower the standard of what these people get paid compared to what other people are doing in the world.
But we
Like,
should, but the thing is, that's not our decision.
That's
It's the
not our
people's.
call.
Like Chris was saying, it is mostly fan funded. Like the recent tournament that just happened with Dota 2, there was a battle pass that the company released with it, and the
That's
grand
where the
total that
prize
people
pool
went
came.
into it was over like 100 million of just sales of the $10
Because people
battle
just
pass.
wanted
I get
access
it,
to
I
it.
get
And they
it.
only used 25% of that money just for the prize pool.
I get it.
And it still surpassed
I
like 30
understand
million.
where the problem is, but like what I can't understand is how people are so much more invested into paying to see
It's
these kinds of
crazy.
things
Yeah.
than like to pay a doctor for saving their life or to pay a teacher for
Well,
educating
that comes
kids.
down to entertainment versus, I know, like a right to live. Like,
Right. I mean,
It's just crazy, isn't
Isn't
that?
it
Like,
the
isn't that crazy
but the
to
same
you
could
guys?
be said. The same could be said about all these actors.
I was
I
gonna-
agree.
yeah,
No, I
that's what I was gonna
completely
say.
agree.
It comes back to
Yeah.
They've been around
entertainers.
for many, many years.
I know.
So to me, it seems a bit unfair to all of a sudden put all the blame on these people who are playing video games.
No, I'm not putting the
No,
blame
I
on
know,
video
but no,
gamers.
but that's the big headline right now, right? Like, what, like
Right.
video games, it's a bad thing. Why is there so much money in it? But the entertainment industry it's been going on for many years. So if video game players are going to be shamed into that, and then that should apply towards all the
No, I
entertainers
agree.
out
I
there.
agree.
yeah. And I know a lot of people make the same comparison you made about like a doctor versus an entertainer, but that just ties into the other issues that surround the entertainment industry, because with entertainment, you're just paying. You don't need it. It's a luxury. You're paying just because you want access to that, right? There's a lot of people on the planet, though, and for some reason we have a select few that get to entertain us, right? But with doctors and stuff, people become doctors because they want to help, because they want to save lives, right? So you're telling me that I should have to pay $3 million to get a band-aid for a cut just because, like, you know what I'm saying?
But you're gonna pay $3 million to watch somebody do something.
Collectively.
Do you
It's
know what I'm saying?
entertainment. Nor.
One's entertainment,
Collectively.
one's kind of just like being alive as a person and someone
Right,
having the
people
ability
are
to save
less
your life.
Hold on.
to have
I
I
their
just want to
life
say something real
saved.
quick. I think it's hilarious how, like, when Nour says her opinion, we all just bash. Like that one time she says her
No,
opinion.
I get what you're saying. Nor.
No,
And
like,
let me
I don't disagree.
answer
Let
you.
me go ahead and say, I'm gonna cut you off real quick just to say,
No, you're wrong.
Stop. I
Chris.
agree with Nour that it's ridiculous
I
the
don't.
amount of money that goes in
You
entertainment.
don't? Are you
And I'll-
serious?
Chill.
I'll tell you why
Let me
after
just say my thing. It's ridiculous the amount of money that goes into entertainment, but kind of like we've collectively agreed, it's just because there's a lot of people and a lot of people want to put money. It's fan funded. We're the ones that are responsible for them getting that much money because we're the ones that are paying to see that.
Right.
And I'm
but
not
people
saying-
would rather pay to see that than like pay to end world hunger. Like, are you not seeing the issue?
Yeah,
here?
I'm saying like people.
No, we see the issue, but you're
That's
still
but
wrong.
you don't care.
Chill.
You don't care.
It's
about
not that
the
you're wrong.
issue.
It's just like with everything else we've said, it's just not realistic because people, like Jorge said, people are selfish, right? And people want to be
This is the
entertained.
reality,
like-
Nor.
I'm upset.
That's why, like
Reality
what
can
I
be
was
often
saying,
disappointing.
corporations have a responsibility. And so say that these people said, okay, we're going to get paid 3 million. 1 million can go to charity. 2 million is still a lot for a prize winner. So I think that's my official point. It's kind of just like a mix of every topic we've had where these corporations that are gaining all this money have the ability for like everyone that works to live lavishly, but also there's still such an excess of money, right? That I think is something that could be done to help save the planet,
But
you know?
then that
But
goes
I-
back to Chris's point where
Yeah.
like it has to start with us.
Right.
Yeah.
Then on that point, I do have to agree with Nour because let's just stick with the video game example, right?
Yes.
So I, as a fan, I paid $20 to Epic Games, right, which created a Fortnite to fund the prize pool winner of the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
I, as a fan, expect those $20 to fully be invested to the prize pool.
Mm-hmm.
So if I find out that Epic is taking, let's say, $5 to end world hunger, you know what I mean? That's not what I paid for. That's something I should do, that I should care about. That's very important. I'm not taking like away the importance of that.
Right.
But that's something I should do from my own pocket, from
Right.
my own like will, right? That's
Mhm.
Epic should not make that choice.
Right.
I should.
Well,
So at the end of the day, it does come back to the consumer
yeah.
and where we want to put our money in.
Okay, I don't disagree because there are like companies and stuff that'll say, pay us and a portion of the profits goes towards
Mhm.
this, right?
Right.
And people choose whether or not to support those companies. But if you were gonna pay $20 regardless,
Mhm.
and you got what you paid for, like say that you paid $20 to have access to the stream to get like some sort of in-game some whatever, and then Epic Games decides, hey guys, we've decided that a proceed of everyone's whatever is gonna go towards this. Would you really be mad
So-
because you got the product that you paid for,
Right.
and even if it was after the fact, would you really care that it was going towards something that's
Well, so that
kind of
that
objectively
that information that you gave out, Epic saying, okay guys, we're gonna give out a certain percentage of what you gave us to, I'm gonna keep using ending world hunger.
right?
If they tell me that after, or no, if they tell me that before I spend my money, by
Yeah.
all means, here's my money. But if they tell me that after I give my money to them,
Right.
then it becomes a conflict because
You could have spent less money somewhere else or
Well,
something
no,
like that,
no,
or
it's just because like they're playing with my money, something
Right.
that I thought I was paying for, but I got something else.
right.
Right. That's the issue that I see at hand. But I think that corporations should do that, right? I think they should say beforehand, before selling any product, if they're gonna do it, is, hey guys, percentage of this will go to helping whatever cause, right?
Ending world hunger.
Ending world hunger. And then yeah, people will pay. People will go for it.
Right.
But they shouldn't just surprise the consumer afterhand. That's not fair to anyone.
Right. But what I'm saying is just kind of like, I think once the transaction is done, if you paid for a product,
Mm-hmm.
it's their money to do whatever. It's kind of like if you give someone a gift, say that you give someone a pencil because they're an artist and you're like, hey, I know you like drawing flowers. Here's a pencil to draw a flower. If that person decides they no longer like drawing flowers and they want to burn the pencil because they need fire real quick and pencils are made out of wood, like it's not yours to control what they did with it once you parted with it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but it's a corporation to a single person. That's very two different examples.
Right.
You know, a corporation that's like sole responsibility is to fully disclose what they're gonna sell and what they're
Yeah.
gonna get. That's like a law, right?
Right.
So I'm not saying I have a problem with them contributing to helping our planet. That's not the issue.
Right.
I'm saying that if they do so without telling the consumers, it becomes a problem.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, and it goes kind of back to being able to separate like the entity from the product, right? It has to do with where you draw the line personally. Jorge, you were gonna say something before we kind of got off track.
This is right. I think,
Into the mic.
because it's your money, that's kind of shady,
Yeah.
And I've seen some corporations do this, and they can, do this, and they can get away with it. But then the backlash from the people, is it really worth it to do that? Because they know people are then going to be angry, and then fight back at it. And to go back to what Nour was saying about her, look, Nour.
What?
Nour.
Yes.
False.
You're right. Okay.
Chill.
I know I'm right.
Okay, you're right. It is a shame, and it sucks, seeing, these preteens getting like a shit ton of money, and then doctors who are willing to save people's life, not nearly the same. But it all goes back down to selfishness. People are selfish, Nour. And you don't really go to the doctor's visit like every day. Entertainment, you can watch Netflix, whenever you want. It's like on demand kind of stuff, but you only go to the doctor's visit when you really need it, like when your legs like bleeding, you have a cut. It's not like a thing you need, only when it's convenient to you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but
That's
everybody needs a doctor at some point, no?
Yeah, for
But
sure.
no one wants to go to it. No one wants to go to the doctor.
And not at every single moment.
But who made these standards?
We did.
Who said that doctors should only make $100,000 a year?
It's
but
not
a freaking
about
football player makes $45 million.
It's
the comparison.
Are you kidding me?
Hold on. The comparison is different because doctors get paid. They're not. Are doctors paid by salary?
Yeah, they are.
Okay, so it's because, so if they're paid by salary, it doesn't matter how many people go to the doctor, right? This is done so that
They're
a doctor
just
still
paid.
makes money. With entertainers, they're not on salary. It just depends on how entertaining they are.
They're on contracts, no?
Well, it depends how many projects they pick up.
Yeah.
Some
The
are
contract just says that they'll work for someone else in order to get money and get interest, right? But they're not promised a certain amount unless it has to do with like a base amount with whatever extra on top of that, right? Because like an actor, for example, will be promised, like, say you get $1 million for being in this film plus this % of the revenue.
I get that, but they, like, let's say an America's Got Talent judge.
Yeah.
They are given a base rate for that season.
Right.
And it's like $15 to $18 million. Like, why is it so high?
Because they know that enough people will pay to be able to fund that.
Right.
Like before they even shoot the show, they have like this team of statistics, and I just run it like how popular can the show be, and by those numbers they go by like what they believe is a just amount of money to like pay their staff.
Right.
I just think it's crazy how much money we put into the entertainment field.
This is
that
the
could
reality.
save so many problems.
It could
like
no.
so many problems.
It could. In fact, like even the richest people in the world, Jeff Bezos, has so
Right.
much money.
He's like one of the most selfish people ever.
I know.
Yeah.
Right, and
I know.
I agree. No, I agree
You
with
know?
like the core message you have. Like I 100% agree on.
Yes.
But I also agree with Jorge. It comes down to like our selfishness. No one wants to go to the doctor. You don't want to be sick. You don't want
Right.
to be having a broken leg, right?
Exactly.
But you do want to be entertained. You do want to see something like for fun.
Yeah.
So you'll give money to that.
It's
And-
like you were saying. That's a choice that people will make because
Mhm.
I know for a fact that like I personally would rather like set aside $50 to go to a concert than set aside $50 if I feel like I might have the flu or something. Like I'm gonna be like
for medication. Or
yeah,
something.
like I'll probably be okay. I don't have to go to the doctor, but
And
I
whose
really
fault
want to go
is
see
that?
this
Well,
concert.
And like that same
That's what I'm
sentiment,
saying.
like
That's
that same sentiment,
Yeah.
like that's spread across almost globally.
Yeah.
I don't think you're saying you'd rather set aside $50 for a concert ticket than for medicine. I think a lot of people would agree on that.
Yeah.
And it's a shame, right? But
And not to like get into, of course, it always kind of takes that turn, but like it also has to do with the healthcare system and the fact that medicine is expensive and it's got different price ranges for different things, whether or not it's like life saving or not. I think people just like you're saying, people are more willing to they're more selfish. They're more willing to put the money aside for something they want than for something that they could do without, and something that's not like you don't go to the doctor every day, right?
Yeah.
So
What do you think, Nour?
I'm just upset.
You just-
Yeah.
The
Do you know
world.
that the president only makes $400,000 a year?
Oh, poor
Okay,
Donald
I
Trump.
don't care about this
I
president,
feel
but
very
like,
bad for
Wow,
him.
okay,
you
but
want-
like previous
you wanted to
presidents.
make more money?
Poor
No, I'm
Trump.
just saying. Okay, it's not about Trump. I'm just saying, like, the salary of
Oh,
a president
I have
is
missed this show.
$400,000, and like a fucking gamer makes
Chill.
more. Sorry.
No, let it all out. Let it all out,
in
Nour.
one night.
I
like
I see
in
your
one
little-
tournament, they're making
little riled
$3
up here.
million. Like,
reality.
I don't feel bad for Trump.
I don't feel bad for Trump. It was not about Trump. I'm
I
just
know, I'm
saying,
kidding,
like,
I'm kidding.
president salary in general.
Uh-huh.
Uh huh.
I feel like it should be less.
okay.
Sorry,
Anyway,
Carla.
I really okay, moving on. I don't even know how to read. Yeah, okay. I don't think we'll be doing any more extended episodes, but I mean, my goodness, you guys. It's always interesting with you three. My closing thoughts are really just, I'm glad to be back. I hope we get these technical difficulties sorted.
Nour is breaking equipment.
Nor please do not break equipment. It's fine.
Yeah,
I can.
really heated.
No, it's fine. Closing thoughts on any of our topics or anything for the coming up week. Nour, Cris, or Jorge, whoever would like to speak first.
Shout out to Martha. Happy birthday. Happy 20, I guess.
Happy
Yeah.
birthday.
Birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday,
Happy birthday.
It has been fun.
Chris.
I had a good time. Thanks for inviting us back.
Of
I am a
course.
very strong believer
Can I talk?
in the things I said today.
Can I go?
Let Chris
I thought you
speak.
finished.
I didn't finish.
You said I
was
liked
still-
it.
I'm not done. Okay.
Go on then.
Hold on. All right. So, have a great school year. If you go to Area 51, let us know how that goes. Try not to get shot. Save the Earth. Yeah.
And you can tell us whether or not you went to Area 51 at podKast XK on Twitter, PODKASTXK. Nour, thoughts?
I
Fun.
just feel very attacked.
Oh my goodness.
Because you're wrong.
No,
What?
no. Nour was not wrong. Nour
She wasn't.
presented
Yeah.
her opinion and we discussed
And it was
it.
wrong.
Like,
Carla.
no, it was not.
Carla.
We literally all came to the conclusion that no one was wrong. We just had different viewpoints and on whether or not our ideas were realistic. That's
Nah.
literally how all these conversations
Chris.
ended.
Yeah. What? Yeah.
Don't start.
All right, Nour, your
Yes,
closing
Carla?
thoughts,
Closing
please.
thoughts? No.
I will not be back.
Okay. Nour, actual
That
closing
is all.
thoughts, please.
This is my closing
I give you a
thought.
sticker. You have to come back.
No, I
That's the
don't.
rules.
Mm-mm.
Give me it back.
Where's my sticker?
That's a you question, bro. All right. Well,
It's okay.
Yeah.
you've been listening to 90.1 WECS FM. This has been Podcast with a K. This is Carla with a K, featuring Nour, Chris, and Jorge. Signing off. We'll see y'all next week. Same time, same station. New nonsense, new guest. Have a good night, y'all.